For you. Wes has joined us, by the way, for today's show. Hey, Wes, how you doing?
Fine, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing well.
I spent a whole week in OSHA class.
Really? Tell me about it after traffic.
I will.
Let's see. KSEO drive time now 4:21. Not a whole lot that you wouldn't expect out there right now. Let's put it this way. If you're stuck in traffic, it's just rush hour traffic unless you got one of these places. We'll start off on Highway 17 southbound to stop and go at Vine Hill Road. Salinas Road. CHP reporting a traffic hazard out there. Looks like we have a big rig stuck on the roadway out there. Details are kind of not very clear. County Road G12 near Johnson Road, a traffic hazard reported at 410. Be on the lookout there. Highway 101 through Coyote Valley and Gilroy, stop and go from Santa Cruz into Aptos, Monterey into Seaside. For right now, looking pretty good, believe it or not. 479-1080, DM at KSEO.com. Hey, Wes, how you doing?
I'm fine. I got caught in that traffic down there at
so did I, dude. I went hiking at Point Lobos this morning, and on my way back, boy, that traffic was horrible. It was horrible. So I just turned around, went back on the 101, went the long way home. But screw it, it's better than being stuck in that traffic. Luckily, nobody was
hurt.
Well, they were hurt, but luckily no one lost their lives this morning so far. They were critically injured, though.
Oh, really?
There was 5 people injured. Do I have the story here, Ben? I think I do, right? Oh, it's right here. 5 people injured in Moss Landing Highway 1 head-on crash. This happened this morning. 5 people were injured. 2 white vans filled with passengers collided on Highway 1 near Dolan Road next to the power plant. CHP said 3 of the victims were critically injured. The drivers appeared to suffer the brunt of the impact. Highway 1 was shut down for an hour, creating a traffic nightmare. All lanes reopened around 11:30.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was actually a head-on accident.
It was bad. Yeah, it's easy to sit there and start cussing, go, son of a gun, what's going on, blah blah blah, and then you remember, man, somebody's life or several lives might be at hanging in the balance. So you just be quiet and sit there. What else can you do? 479-1080 West. That's the number to call. I was listening to the show this morning. I was listening to the radio station this morning, Ben, and I heard Rosie talking about this story that I wanted to talk about and never got a chance to get to yesterday.
So she stole your thunder?
She did.
Darn you, Rosie.
Service dog pictured alongside owner in school yearbook. Did you see this story?
Oh, you know what?
Man, I got so teary-eyed when I heard this. I
had like a short version of this story. I just didn't think that it was good enough to print out.
Well, of course it's good enough to print out, Ben. It's a good feel-good story, Wes.
I know, between the two of us, I'm the dog lover.
Yes.
Yeah, the dogs are the most important part here.
Yes.
In every
Way
school
more important
yearbook,
than cats.
students usually recognize teachers, friends, and administrators, but one school decided to include another member whose job was just as meaningful. Alpha Schalk. That's his name. Oh, Alpha. Schalk is his last name. Alpha is the dog's name. He was included next to his owner, Andrew Schalk, in the classroom yearbook. The reason why
So they're related?
Well, the Alpha is a service dog, and he helps the kid deal with diabetes. So when he would, before he gets into a dangerous situation with his diabetes, the dog will alert him and let him know that, you better take your medication. Something's about to happen. You need to do something.
But they have the same last name. Are they like brothers? How does that work?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Alpha alerts me through smell,
They can't have the same parents.
20 to 40 minutes sooner than I know anything is wrong. He saved my life multiple times, especially at night when low blood sugar can be super dangerous, said the 16-year-old. Okay, so here you go.
Good for that dog. That
yes,
is
good for the
awesome.
dog, but let me tell you something. That dog is going to go the way of the dodo bird, Wes.
Why?
What?
Yes. Service animals? Are you kidding me?
Why
Are you kidding me? Service animals? Okay, so listen. This is what's going to happen to the service animal. They're going to be replaced by robots. They're going to be replaced by your smartphone. They're going to be replaced by all kinds of things. Service animals? Dude.
Well,
I mean, how long ago was it?
You don't have to take your smartphone out for a walk every now and then.
Right. I mean, the smartphone is going to replace service animals eventually. Right
Your
now,
phone isn't as cute, though.
So if you're thinking from a futuristic point, right, Ben, let's just say we're 100 years into the future, and we look back and we say, can you believe we actually had animals working as service?
It was torture for
helping
them.
Well, you may be, but we also had, what was that? Those big animals pulling the plows, cats. What do you hook them up to? You hook your plow up to the cat, and you have it go out there.
The oxen.
The oxen, and then you go out there and plow. We don't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. We don't use animals like that anymore.
Well, we don't here in the United States, but other countries still do.
That's true. I think people in the future, if they look back on service animals, they'll go, "Wow, those guys were so lucky.
You think so?
They had animals they could take with them everywhere."
4791080.
I wish I could take my dog into every store I went into.
I just thought that that was an interesting idea or an interesting thought.
I saw a blind person that had a miniature horse as their service dog, service animal.
Wow.
Had trained a miniature horse.
How big was the horse? I mean, because those
Miniature
things
horses
are
are
like
about as tall as a table. Not even a little shorter.
that's a
why-
pretty
why-
big service animal.
Why can you have a dog instead?
Well, the reason
you just
that
get to
she
pick
chose,
your animal?
The reason that she chose a miniature horse is they will live to 25 to 30 years, and she had lost her service dog, and she was so emotionally attached. She wanted an animal that would be around a lot longer.
Why doesn't she get a service tortoise?
That would go really slow. I don't think she can make it across the
Service-
crosswalk before the countdown got to zero.
It'd live very long though.
Yeah,
Probably
they would-
outlive her.
Probably.
Did she ever ride the horse?
No, it's a miniature horse. You ever seen a miniature horse?
Yeah, I mean, I used to ride one when I was like a little kid.
Not a pony.
A miniature horse?
Yeah,
Not a pony.
yeah, I know.
Miniature horse is like the size of a
I rode when
German
I
Shepherd.
was a kid, and I was a pretty big kid.
That was torture on the horse.
There you go.
What?
Let's get to the stories, Wes.
All right, go for it.
Man shot while interrupting auto burglary.
Oh, yeah, this is
KSBW.com
sad.
reports a man confronted a group of car burglars in Gilroy early this morning and was shot. Officers found him suffering from a gunshot wound in his leg. The victim told police that he was confronted by two people who were burglarizing a vehicle. The victim had asked the thieves what they were doing. A third person emerged, yelled, "I'll show you what I'm doing," and fired several shots. 4 people fled on foot. When cops arrived, 1 person was arrested at the scene. A SWAT team surrounded the house on Irvin Court, where 2 more suspects had fled. A standoff ensued. They eventually surrendered and were placed under arrest. A 4th person was arrested while he was walking on a nearby street.
That just sucks. I mean, hey guys, how you doing? What are you doing over there? Ow!
Body found near Westcliff Beach.
Where? Really?
Yeah.
Like a human body or a?
Yeah, man.
Really?
Yeah. The body washed up on a small beach area near Westcliff Drive across from Fair Avenue. The remains are are unidentifiable right now.
Anybody missing lately?
I don't know, but they found another body out there by Aptos Creek.
Yeah,
Just
this is
this
the
week.
second body they found this week.
Yeah, this week. That's kind of grim.
We have a call on the line, and another one of our callers just called up to ask you a question, Wes.
Oh God.
What is it?
What
yeah,
is
and I'm actually a little bit embarrassed to ask you this myself, so
What's
here
that?
goes. They wanted to know if anyone had ever told you that you sound a little bit like Robert Downey Jr.
No, I've never heard that one before. I know that one. I mean,
He looks kind of like Robert Downey Jr. too.
Oh, yeah, totally. I could see it.
What?
Let me see. Talk, Wes. Say something.
I don't know. What do you want me to say?
He does sound like Robert Downey Jr.
It's spot on.
Yeah.
I have never noticed that. Not at all. Well, of course, I'm not going to notice it. I don't know what I sound like. I know
Yeah,
I get a
that's
lot
true.
of. I get a lot of times. I get people that tell me I look like Rick Harrison on Pawn Stars.
Yeah, you
The bald
look
head,
like
the
a
goatee.
dead
And I
ringer
have
for
a-
that guy, man.
I actually have a hat that when I do wear it, I mean, I even when I put the sunglasses on, I go, oh wow, that is scary.
Do you have a hat that says I'm not actually Rick Harrison or something?
No, but I might not need to get one.
4791080. The slide
I
is
saw-
scaring people from Big Sur.
There's this hilarious picture online of a guy. He's an old man, and he's got a shirt, and on the front it says, "I'm not Bernie Sanders," and on the back it says, "Oh, who's that? Who's that old actor who played Bernie Sanders on Saturday Night Live?
Oh,
The guy who wrote Seinfeld."
Larry something, right?
Larry-
Yeah.
Larry Craig or something?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Anyway, he's on the front it says, "I'm not Bernie Sanders." On the back it says, "I'm not this guy." And this guy looks like a dead ringer for both of them.
4791080. Let's get out to the phone lines. Keith calling from Aptos. You're in the air.
Hey guys, how you doing? Have you heard the latest about the Ono bird?
No.
Okay, well, a guy got helicoptered into the jungles of Guatemala, and he actually got a bunch of pictures, and they're supposed to be posting them soon. But pretty rare bird. The problem with the Ono bird is it's got 3-inch legs and 4-inch cojones. So when they come into land, you can hear them throughout the jungle screaming, "Oh no! Oh no!"
4791080. Oops. I was supposed to hang up on him, not stop the music. KSEO Santa Cruz.
News update. President Trump may be budging on climate change. As he wrapped up meetings with G7 allies in Sicily, there were signs he's warming to the concept. CBS's Stephen Portnoy in Taormina.
The president's top economic advisor says Mr. Trump's views of the Paris Climate Accord are now evolving. It could be a signal the president isn't ready to pull out of the 2015 agreement, which he has said would harm the U.S. economy. Separately, the advisor says the president is not thinking about lowering sanctions on Russia. In fact, the aide suggests Mr. Trump might get tougher on Vladimir Putin.
Observations on Mr. Trump's first overseas visit as president from CBS's Major Garrett.
This trip began with the president telling authoritarian leaders in the Middle East he would not lecture them on human rights. He then proceeded to lecture European democracies about NATO spending. Through this entire trip, the president has held not one press conference with traveling U.S. reporters.
President heads home tomorrow. CBS News Update. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
You're listening to AM 1080 KSEO Santa Cruz. It's 4:32. Time for local headlines. Here's Phil Disa.
Thanks, Dave, and good afternoon, Central Coast. The Santa Cruz Police Department recovered 2 stolen bikes earlier this week with the help of Good Samaritan, where an employee took a picture of the crime while workers from Buddy Griggs Plumbing Company detained Walkenbach until officers arrived and arrested him for grand theft. During the investigation, 2 bikes were recovered. A second stolen bike was found stashed near the San Lorenzo Park. Both bikes have been returned to their owners. The Salinas Police Department is adding extra DUI patrols for the holiday weekend. The DUI officers have special training to help them detect when a driver is under the influence of drugs, marijuana, or
slow-moving traffic there. On this side of the hill, CHP reporting G12 near Johnson Road, a traffic hazard. No further details there. Uvas Road near Oak Glen Avenue, a traffic collision reported at 4:23. Looks like we have somebody trapped in one of those vehicles. We'll keep our fingers crossed there. Highway 1 in Santa Cruz, stop and go. It'll stay that way into Aptos, southbound. Over in Moss Landing, both directions slow-moving as you approach the harbor. Both directions picking up speeds once you make it over the harbor. Southbound 101, stop and go through Coyote Valley, and then again in Gilroy, and then again near 156. Those are in the southbound direction. Heading into Salinas, northbound 101, 10 miles per hour as you approach Alisal Street, or the exit at least. Your weather forecast for tonight, patchy fog after midnight, increasing clouds. Lows should be around 53 degrees. Tomorrow should be mostly sunny by noon. Highs will be around 67 degrees. Out on the Monterey Bay this evening, west wind should be expected 5 to 15 knots. Wind waves 1 to 3 feet. Northwest swells 3 to 4 feet at 10 seconds. Patchy fog after midnight, and a small craft advisory from tomorrow morning through tomorrow evening. Flight 1080 back after this.
Every Saturday afternoon at 3, Nurse Jackie Tucker hosts Stepping In Radio, focused on health, wellness, and care for seniors and those battling chronic pain and other illnesses. Your questions and comments invited, regardless of social standing, economic status, or age. That's Stepping In. What resources are available for these special populations and those who care for them? Join Nurse Jackie Tucker to explore these questions and more on Stepping In, this Saturday at 3 on KSCO.
Hi, folks. It's Jim Peterson of Solar for America by Peterson Dean. And how many ads do you hear out there right now on solar companies discounting, discounting, discounting? What does American style mean? Look, the guys out there heavily discounting do not sell you panels made in America. They're made in Mexico and Malaysia. That's a fact. How do you start a relationship with a solar company that lies to you right off the bat? Then they want to have a 20-year relationship with you when they've lied and cheated on you from the word say go? I'll never do that to you at Solar for America. It's always American made by Americans 100% of the time. Roof, solar, backup battery, and home fencing. We don't discount the heck out of our products because we want to be here for you when you need us down the road. I've been doing nothing but roofing and solar since I was 16 years old. This is all I know. I don't lie to you. I'll always build you the best American-made roof, solar, backup battery, or fence money can buy. Give me a call today at 888-389-1249. 888-389-1249. Again, Solar for America, 888-389-1249. CSLB 468-117.
How many lawyers does it take to answer a legal question? In this case, the answer is 2. Join my co-host, law professor Stephen Wagner, and me, Mitchell Winnick, Dean of Monterey College of Law. Wagner and Winnick on the Law, Saturday afternoons, 4 to 5 p.m., here on KSCO AM 1080. Remember, if you don't know the law, know a lawyer.
You have cancer, and unless you take serious action immediately, you will be dead within 2 years. Devastating words that no one wants to hear ever. Well, my friend Bob heard those words recently, and as you can imagine, it turned his world upside down. Thoughts of losing body parts and body functions, having people treat him differently, the pall of depression, and even consideration of suicide are just some of the things that raced through his mind, until he grabbed hold of himself and decided to deal decisively with this problem. What he has learned in this process, he wants to share with everyone. All of us are touched by cancer every day, if not personally through experiences of friends and loved ones. Granted, the topic is not a happy one, but Bob's journey is worth chronicling. Starting with the next KSCO special this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, right here on No Need to Be Alone Ever Radio, AM 1080 KSCO.
KSCO 1080 on your dial.
Two 218-572-6479-1080. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Flight 1080. That's the show you're listening to right now. 218-572-6West. That's the number to call in with your texts. Isn't the body of the man who jumped in after his wife in Pebble Beach still missing? Perhaps that body is his.
Oh, could be.
Remember that story? I think that was at Point Lobos, too.
Would it have, washed up the coast like this, though?
I have no idea, dude. I have no idea.
Guess it all depends on which way the tide's going.
I remember when those storms hit, though. I remember thinking, boy, it's a miracle that more people haven't died, and got washed into those rivers somehow. I don't even want to think about that.
Especially when you had kids surfing down the flooded rivers and stuff.
Dude, what a bunch of idiots.
I want to thank Dave for reminding me that we were on camera. I had a wild hair going.
Oh, don't
up
do
my
that.
nose.
Don't do
I was
that.
trying to
Don't say
pick
it.
my nose and get it out of there, but it.
Luckily enough, we are streaming the beach right now, so
okay,
no one
Thank
saw you.
God.
Picking
Nobody
your...
saw me picking my nose.
Yeah.
Cool.
No one can hear you tell that joke of yours either.
Yeah. You didn't hear my joke?
I must have missed it.
Oh.
Go ahead and this is great.
So this iron worker's sitting.
No, not that one.
Oh, you don't want me to tell the iron
The one
worker
about
joke?
the leg. You told that other one already on the air, didn't you?
No.
Okay.
Which one?
I don't know. Go ahead, tell him.
Let him tell his joke, Dave.
So this iron worker.
No, wait.
What?
Go ahead.
Iron worker sitting having lunch, and up jumps this frog. And this frog says, "Mr. Iron Worker, I'm an enchanted frog. You make a wish, and I'll make it come true." Iron worker looks down at the frog, grabs a spud wrench, and is going to kill the frog. And the frog's going, "No, Mr. Iron Worker, honest to God, I'm an enchanted frog. You make a wish, and I'll make it come true." Iron worker thinks for a second and says, "All right, I want a penis that hangs below my knees." Frog goes, "No problem. You go to bed tonight. When you wake up, you'll have a penis that hangs below your knees." Iron worker wakes up with 3-inch legs.
That's good. All right, enough of that. Gianforte won last night, right? He's the guy. This is the guy that chokeslammed that reporter.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, did he do that yesterday or the day before yesterday? The election was yesterday, right? So he choked him the day before. You know about the story, right?
Oh yeah, I heard it.
Okay, so the night before the election, he takes this guy, chokeslams him. The following day, he wins.
Yep. And I think
with no problem, he won too.
Really? I don't know. I've been hiking all day. I don't know.
It was pretty close, but
43 to 50 is not close.
51 to 44.
I take it back. Then that is not close. If the reporters went around and asked people who were voting if the body slamming incident changed their mind about anything. Most of them said no.
Yeah, I got this story right here. Texas governor cracks joke about reporters at a gun range. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is drawing criticism for cracking a joke about reporters at a gun range. That's already in the headline. Abbott took some target practice Friday after signing a bill reducing fees for state handgun licenses. The San Antonio Express-News reported that when he was given his target sheet, Abbott joked, "I'm going to keep this around in case I see any reporters." Nice. The quip came days after this whole incident happened. Abbott's joke drew a rebuke from the National Gun Control Advocacy Group, Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Well, it's just, if you look at that election in Montana, no matter what channel you turned it on, you swear to God it was a presidential election. It was everywhere. And every channel was just talking about, well, if it's between this point spread and this point spread, the Democrats might have a chance to get the House and the Senate next year. And because of
that's why it was so important. That's why they're covering it like that, right?
I guess.
Why was it being held anyways? Why was a special election being held?
I don't know, to be honest.
I don't have the answer
somebody
to that.
there must have been a vacant seat, right, or somebody leaving the office for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't keep in tune with Montana's politics.
Yeah.
479-1080. Wes, would you have voted for this guy?
For picking up
okay. So would what he did mattered to you?
No.
It wouldn't matter to you?
No. Not really.
I thought about this last night too, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what you would do. I mean, what do you do? Do you not vote for the guy?
If you assault someone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't.
And then just.
Well, would you vote for somebody if they had assaulted somebody 5 years ago, or 5 years from now, or 15 years ago?
No, if he did it
at all, and
like right before the no, if he did it 5 years ago, then I could see my way to voting for him. I mean, if he did it 5 years ago and was like, hey, you know what, I made this mistake. But the fact he did this the night before the election shows, I think, a little bit of his instability, and that would scare me off from voting for him.
I'd say he got pissed at the reporter for constantly harassing him.
Yeah, and
that's what reporters are supposed to do.
Well, harassing? No, reporters are supposed to.
He wasn't harassing him. He was asking him a question about what was it?
I think he was probably harassing him. But if that guy can't deal with that kind of harassment from a reporter,
yes,
he's not going to be a very good politician. That's the way you're treated as a politician.
Well, I don't know if that should be something like that's a whole other different topic. But if you're constantly going after somebody over and over again with something that I don't know.
Did he?
Is or is not true.
Did this reporter have a history of hassling this guy?
That's what I heard. But
well, if you hear in the videotape, when he's like punching him, he's like, "You bother me every night" or whatever. You know.
I don't think. I thought he just picked him up and threw him down. He wasn't.
No, I think he
beat him.
Choke slammed him and then threw a couple punches.
Yeah, he beat him.
I heard body slam.
Well, I mean, if you look at the report from Fox News, he grabbed him around the neck and threw him over his body
and broke his glasses. I saw the interview with the reporter afterwards on TV. He didn't look too beat up to me. I'm not saying that he didn't get tagged on, but I'm just saying that things gotten worse, I guess.
Well, you can't beat up reporters, though, right?
Well, you can't
you're not
beat up
supposed
anyone.
to beat up anybody.
Yeah. And I think that's really the interesting question. If this guy had chokeslammed, I don't know, like a war veteran or something like that, would people have voted differently? I think it's the fact that it was a reporter that he body slammed that made it pretty much okay with a lot of his supporters.
There is no doubt.
That's scary to me. That is scary to me. And and superficially, I don't care that he chokeslammed this guy. I really don't. But in the big scheme of things, I'm concerned about the attitude towards journalists. Yeah.
I don't have to be perfectly honest with you, I'm not saying that all journalists, but right now, journalism isn't like it was before. You're not asked questions and then you can it's a badgering thing that happens now.
Maybe, but what's the option? What's the option that you don't have anybody asking questions?
No, you chokeslam the journalists until they do better.
I mean, this is the only thing. This is the best thing that we have is journalists willing to go in there and
I'm just saying journalists aren't as good as they used to be.
Fine,
That's
but
what
it's what we have to work with. I mean, we can't hold our nose or hold our breath until we get better journalists. We have what we have, and they need access
to. They're not. well, that goes into a bigger
I mean,
thing.
wouldn't you
but-
want a journalist to be able to go and hammer Obama on anything that he did? Wouldn't you want that? Or would you want his office to go in there and beat up Sean Hannity and throw him out
Well, I
out
don't
the
want
room?
anybody beating up on anybody, per se.
Well, don't you think the press should have access to these guys?
Sure, and I think that they should be able to ask questions and then get answers,
Right.
And then deal with and then stop badgering people, because what the questions that are going on are just crazy right now.
479-1080, dm@ksco.com.
I mean, it's just look how biased all the different channels are, whether it's Fox, MSNBC, or CNN. The only one that doesn't seem to be biased is One
MSNBC.
One American News. That's kind of like a Walter Cronkite thing. They actually sit, do the news, and be done with it. Versus this whole commentary of who's right and wrong. I mean, good God. I mean, there's no doubt that you can tell in a lot of cases what the reporter's politics are now. And that's something that you should have never been able to
definitely
know.
if you're watching like the 24/7 news cycle, there isn't 24 hours of news, so they fill it with opinion. But if you look at some of the major news publications that are out there, there's still a decent level of investigative journalism that's going on. I mean, look at all the stuff they've dug up about Trump and Russia.
Well,
I mean, that takes investigative journalism.
Yeah, yes, it does. It takes a lot of investigative journalism. I don't think it's going on the way it used to go on. I think a lot of it's done behind the desk looking at the internet.
479-1080.
I think that's probably the best way to do a lot of work today.
No, well, but that's not right. What you need to do is actually go out, and news companies need to spend the money to send people out to actually go find the news versus surfing the desk.
I don't know.
I think you're not
That's a
fully
little old
appreciating
school.
what the internet is capable
Right.
of.
The internet gives you connection to all kinds of forums,
I'm not saying
documents,
that you don't-
newspapers,
I'm not saying that you
quotes.
don't use it to research. I'm not saying that. But then there's also go out there and get the job done. On the
479-1080.
pavement.
Let's get out to the phone lines. Mike is calling from Watsonville. You're in the air.
Hey, you know what? I agree with you. No one needs to be beat up. But on the other hand, you know what? These reporters, they don't have the right to just force their way in situations and put microphones in people's faces. That's harassment, too. And, you know, after that happened, it's kind of ironic. He had over $100,000 come in of support. I think the country's kind of pissed off and they're tired of these reporters pulling their games. So I was actually happy that happened. So it's a sad state of affairs, but I understand where that guy is coming from. And he maybe had all the pressure, maybe he thought he was going to lose and just all this built-up pressure, and he just lost it. But they caught him on a bad day, and I hope other reporters take a look because it's not good. And the seat was vacant because the other congressman went to work for Trump. So it's kind of interesting. Also, I think the whole country, you know why they're acting like it's a presidential news or a presidential race? Because the Democrats are just so hopeful and so hoping that this is going to, the country's going to go the other way, Democrat and stuff. And I think we're going to find out in the next election cycle. It's going to be a while, but so far, nothing's shown us that it's all going to go Democrat. So we'll see what happens. And Trump has to, if he could do a lot of what he said he's going to do, it might not happen, but there's a good chance it's going to swing Democrat again just because that's what's happened historically. It always happens when the one party's in power and stuff, and so the Democrats are just hoping and praying this happens, and, let's see what happens. So.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they're going to get their shot at it again. I was just thinking about that last night, too. Thank you for your call.
You got 2018. But just with what I was watching on CNN last night, the Democrats spent a fortune up there in Montana trying to get their person to win, and it still didn't happen. And had town halls all up there that had nothing but people in there protesting the town halls, lots of people, and they still didn't win. I don't know.
Matt texted in and said that reporter was being a total pain in the butt. He responded, I guess he being the candidate responded with appropriateness. Another caller says most of these people voted ahead of time, which is true. Maybe that had something to do with the vote.
Yeah, I think 2/3 of the vote was in before this event happened. I don't doubt that this reporter was out of line. I don't doubt that he was badgering and harassing this guy.
You know what, dude? I'm not
to
buying
it,
that. I don't buy that.
Really?
Yes.
You don't think
what did he do?
I think he busted into his office and shoved the tape recorder in his face.
But there was already people there. There was already Fox News crew in there.
It was supposed to be like a private press meeting.
Something.
Which I think is another issue, that certain candidates will only talk to certain news organizations. And I think that was probably the reason why the guy had to bust in the first place. But no, I mean, he shoved the tape recorder in his face. He was probably harassing him. That doesn't mean that the guy's reaction wasn't totally out of line and inappropriate.
So when Bill Cosby is walking down the sidewalk going to his trial, and he's got reporters shoving recording devices in his face, he could legally go, hey, yeah, just chop him and choke slam him, throw him down to the ground?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, then how did this guy have a right to do it?
I don't think he does. I think he's facing assault charges.
Yeah, you're right. He is. 479-1080, DM at KSCO.com.
But the fact is that they did vote. 2/3 of them did vote before the incident. But it still goes back to look how much money the Democrats spent up there, had all those town halls, doing all the protests, and 2/3 of them voted beforehand and still voted them in.
479-1080. If you're looking for something to do this weekend, why don't you help the environment, Wes?
Of course.
Cleanup Sunday. Cleanup is on Sunday. This is for the Save Our Shores. They're celebrating this holiday weekend on the beach. And if you want to do the same, you should try these tips to keep the coast healthy. You ready?
I'm ready.
Avoid bringing disposable plastic items to the beach. That's number one. Pack food and drinks in reusable bottles and bags instead. And please pick up after yourself. It could save an animal's life. If you want to do more, you can join the beach cleanup at Cowell and Main Beach in Santa Cruz. See saveourshores.org for more info. Again, the cleanup will be this Sunday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Cowell Beach. You're wanted to meet by the public restrooms near the Dream Inn. That's where the meeting place is this Sunday at Cowell Beach, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., or to 11 a.m., that is. Meet near the public restrooms near the Dream Inn. Save Our Shores, sponsoring a beach cleanup this weekend. Again, Saturday from 9 to 11.
That's a good thing to do. It's a good thing to get involved in.
479-1080. Let's see who's up next. It is Bill calling from Los Gatos. You're in the air, Bill.
Yeah. I was just wanted to comment. I'm really amazed at what I'm hearing from some of the callers and from some of your co-hosts. I mean, it really sounds like they're justifying this congressman body slamming this reporter. I listened to it. I listened to the witnesses that were on Fox News, not exactly, left-wing sources. And, the guy was asking the question about health care. On one hand, when your caller says, why don't the reporters get out there in the field off the Internet, that's exactly what he was doing. These Republican congressmen, they're having a hard time answering these questions about health care. And the reporters are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing, pressing the point.
Yes.
This is just, this is going to be a huge cost shift. A lot of people are going to have nasty surprises with their health care. They don't realize that we're going back to the old days. You lose your job, you could be bankrupt if you break your leg, all the safeguards under Obamacare are going to be gone. And, it's going to cost a lot more money, and a lot of folks are going to be losing health care. So a lot of reporters and a lot of the public are pressing the point to these congressmen. They don't have answers. That's why they're pissed off. They don't have answers. This guy voted on it without even the CBO score. They trashed Obamacare for them even attempting to do the same thing. In Obamacare, there was over 100 amendments by Republicans before the law was passed. This last health care bill, zero amendments by Democrats. It was all done behind closed door, before it was scored, before it was evaluated, and a lot of folks are going to get screwed. They're funding it by eliminating the inheritance tax, which is going to only benefit folks. It's already up to $3 million. So anyone that makes more, has more than that, is going to make the killing. That's how they're funding taking away insurance from people. So when these folks are asking these congressmen, like, why did you do that? Specifically, this reporter's question was, you said that you would not vote on this before it was scored by the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office. He did anyway. So he's just pressing the point, like, why did you do that, or at least explain yourself? He had not been badgering the reporter. It was actually another reporter. If you listen to what the congressman was saying while he's screaming, it's like, you're just like the other guy that's been bugging me. You're just like the other guy. This guy had not been harassing him. This blowhard billionaire from New Jersey that moved to Montana to buy a Congress seat is just like Trump. That's why everyone's cheering him. All the Trump supporters are cheering him they're discrediting the media, saying it's okay to beat them up, they deserve it. Bullshit.
Thank you for your call, Bill. You know you can't say that stuff, Bill.
Sorry about that.
All right, get out of here. 479-1080. Thank you for the call. I think that was a fair call, and I think he
Until
said
the end.
I think he said exactly how I feel. And I'm a Trump supporter, but I tell you what, dude, this attitude towards
the press,
he's
The
not
mainstream
towards
media?
the press is not necessarily healthy. I mean,
no,
they
it's
are
not
supposed
healthy.
to be over there. They are supposed to be badgering these guys. They are supposed to be harassing them until they get the answers. They are supposed to do that. They're supposed to.
Except it comes from a biased side.
That's fine. So what? I understand their bias. People understand that. That's how Trump got elected. We understand that. We can handle that. 479-1080.
That's not how it's supposed to go.
It's fine. That's not how it's supposed to go. Have you ever heard the saying that life is not fair? Have you ever heard that? You've heard that.
Oh yeah,
always get what
many
you
times.
479-1080. You want to see something funny?
Yeah, of course.
Go to our Facebook page and watch this guy. It looks like he's wearing a Make America Great hat again. Did you see that? It's a red hat and it's got.
I don't think it is though. It's definitely a red hat, but I don't think the writing isn't right.
So this guy's walking across. He's going across the sidewalk, across the crosswalk. A guy is approaching the crosswalk very fast in his vehicle, and the pedestrian is just screaming at him. He's going, "Hey, you son of a blah 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 blah!" And he's just, oh, geez, what happens to him next is just hilarious. It is hilarious.
It is instant karma.
And then just underneath that video, you're going to find another one from Hearst Castle, and this is of a zebra herd and a little tiny zebra running as.
That's a wild zebra herd.
Yeah, that is so
near
cool.
Hearst Castle.
Yeah, he flew him in there. I guess he had his own zoo out there. But this little guy is running. I love that. That is so cute. You see that, Wes? Yeah, that's cute, right?
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that
Baby
he
animals are
had
cute.
zebras down there at Hearst Castle
Yeah, he had zebras, giraffes.
that are still there.
This is a wild herd that lives, I think, next to it.
I suspect that they escaped from that ranch because they had all kinds of crazy animals when I went out there. It was about 25 years ago last time I was out there. 479-1080 West. That's the number to call in. DM at KSCO.com, 218-5726.
You can watch us live on KSCO Global.
Are we online right now?
Yeah, we are. Do we have time for Samuel and Marina?
Sure. Let's. We got less than a minute. Samuel, take it.
Hello?
Hey, Samuel.
Hello.
Yeah, this is, I've been listening to y'all for quite a while. I enjoy your show, right? But one of the things that we have to take into account, whether it's the left or the right, all the information is gathered by what we're being told. It's like the example Ben said that some of the major news reports. Don't you think, for an example, if they had serious information about Trump, they would have done something about it? It's a lot of stuff that we're being told is based upon people's opinions. So different than the Congress guy, okay? The gentleman that was just on, he was saying, I listened to this, or this was reported, or that was reported. We don't know. It's like the other gentleman said, hey, some of the information is biased, you know? So sometimes we take what we hear and we don't even differentiate between what is fake news and what is actual news.
Thank you for your call, Samuel. 479-1080. We got to move to CBS News.
Sanctions.
That advisor also says the president may be ready for a major staff shakeup after he gets home tomorrow to deal with messaging on the Russia investigation. She'll go back. Ariana Grande plans to return to the site of Monday's bombing in the UK.
Ariana Grande says there's nothing she or anyone else can do to take away the pain caused by that deadly bombing at her show in Manchester, England, but she wants to do everything she can to help those affected. In a statement, she says she plans to return to what she calls the incredibly brave city to hold a benefit concert to raise money for victims' families. Grande says she'll think of those killed and injured in the terrorist blast for the rest of her life, adding, "We won't let hate win." Sam Litzinger, CBS News.
The terror threat level in England remains at its highest, critical, with 9 people currently in custody in connection with that bombing and searches continuing. A mortician at Dover Air Force Base, Bill Zagorowski, is under investigation for disrespecting the remains of hero astronaut John Glenn. Your CBS's David Martin.
The Inspector General's investigation was ordered after an inspection of the mortuary in March. Zagorowski offered to show Pentagon officials Glenn's remains, which were being kept at Dover awaiting his burial at Arlington National Cemetery. One official called that clearly inappropriate and personally shocking. Zagorowski says he only wanted to show the inspectors the embalming procedures used on remains kept for months. Glenn had died in December. His widow wanted him buried in April on their wedding anniversary.
Heartbreak ×2. Police in Parker County, Texas, say a mother found her children, 2 years old and 16 months, dead inside a locked car. The temperature outside was 96 degrees. The circumstances under investigation. They called her the Angel of Death. A nurse from Texas, 66-year-old Janine Jones, in prison for murdering a toddler in 1992, is now charged with killing an infant a year earlier. It'll keep her from being freed next year under an old overcrowding law. KENS TV's Jeremy Baker.
Jones was suspected of killing up to 60 babies while working as a nurse before she was convicted on one murder charge in 1985 and sentenced to 99 years in prison. That victim, 15-month-old Chelsea McClellan, has thus far been the only murder conviction. She was also later convicted of attempted homicide and sentenced to a concurrent 60-year term. So far, she's been denied parole at every request.
Dow down 2. This is CBS News.
Wouldn't it be great if you could stop crime before it happens? With the Ring Floodlight Cam, you can. I'm Jamie Siminoff, inventor and founder of Ring. Floodlight Cam is a motion-activated HD security camera that connects right to your phone, so you're alerted when anyone steps onto your property. You can now see, speak, or even sound an alarm right from your phone, anywhere, anytime. Does your floodlight prevent crime? Ours does. Go to ring.com/advantage and save $150 off of a Ring of Security kit. That's ring.com/advantage.
Finding great people to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's time to try ZipRecruiter, where 80% of jobs get a qualified candidate in just one day. How? Using powerful technology, ZipRecruiter matches your job to the right candidates fast. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/talk for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/talk.
It's the annual warning about your holiday barbecue.
To ensure you're sizzling safely, it's important to get the fire started properly. Philadelphia Fire Commissioner Adam Teal says throwing matches into your gas grill is a no-no.
We see people doing that all the time, and sometimes they end up with no eyebrows.
Or worse.
You can burn your house down and you can die.
Jack's Firehouse owner Mick Houston has a tip to get those charcoal grills started.
I highly recommend using a chimney. It takes all the pressure out of starting your grill right out of your hands.
Both say when it's time to clean up, make sure you use common sense and dispose of the coals into something metal. Mike Doherty, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Soundgarden music played on portable speakers outside the Hollywood Forever Cemetery in L.A. as a private service was held inside for the band's frontman, Chris Cornell, who committed suicide. Among the mourners, Brad Pitt, Pharrell Williams, and Dave Grohl. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Wouldn't it be great if you could stop crime before it happens? With the Ring Floodlight Cam, you can. I'm Jamie Siminoff, inventor and founder of Ring. Floodlight Cam is a motion-activated HD security camera that connects right to your phone, so you're alerted when anyone steps onto your property. You can now see, speak, or even sound an alarm right from your phone, anywhere, anytime. Does your floodlight prevent crime? Ours does. Go to ring.com/advantage and save $150 off of a Ring of Security kit. That's ring.com/advantage.
Finding great people to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's time to try ZipRecruiter, where 80% of jobs get a qualified candidate in just one day. How? Using powerful technology, ZipRecruiter matches your job to the right candidates fast. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/talk for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/talk.
You're listening to AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz, AM 1340 KOMY LaSalle Beach, Watsonville. The time is now 5:06. Let's see what's happening out there on your roadways. Highway 17 southbound is stop and go at Vine Hill Road. Also stop and go from Santa Cruz into Aptos. Slow-moving traffic through Moss Landing, both directions. 101 southbound, stop and go. Again in Gilroy, and then again near the 156 exit. CHP reporting in Monterey County, northbound 101. Traffic collision, unknown whether or not there are any injuries. This is near 101 northbound near Eckhart Road. All vehicles on the right-hand shoulder. Your forecast for tonight, patchy fog, increasing clouds, lows around 53 degrees. Tomorrow, partly to mostly sunny by noon, highs will be around 67 degrees. A small craft advisory out on the Monterey Bay tomorrow morning. Tonight's forecast, your boater's forecast that is, west winds 5 to 15 knots, wind waves 1 to 3 feet, and northwest swells 3 to 4 feet at 10 seconds, along with patchy fog after midnight. The number to call in with your traffic reports, 475-1080. You can also send those in to dm@ksco.com. Time now 5:07. Headlines up next. Here's Phil.
Thanks, Dave, and good afternoon, Central Coast. A body was recovered from a Santa Cruz beach yesterday. The badly decomposed remains were discovered at about 9 a.m. on a beach near Fair Avenue and Westcliff Drive. The remains were recovered by the coroner's office, which will now work to determine the identity and cause of death. A man was shot after he interrupted an auto burglary in Gilroy this morning. The incident took place just after 3 a.m. near the intersection of Hyde Park and Victoria Drive. The victim reported he had confronted two people that were burglarizing a vehicle. A third person then shot him in the legs. The Gilroy Police Department has arrested 3 people in connection with the incident. Anyone with any information is encouraged to contact authorities. Former Salinas Councilman Jose Castaneda's attorney is planning to file a motion for a new trial, Tavia Avila reports.
Castaneda was found guilty on Wednesday for stalking, kidnapping, sexual battery, and inflicting corporal injury on his ex-girlfriend. Castaneda's attorney, James Siegel Gutierrez, believes the Sixth Amendment right to competent counsel was violated. Siegel Gutierrez plans to file the motion before Castaneda is sentenced on June 22nd. This is Tavia Avila for KSCO Radio News.
A Santa Cruz neurosurgeon pleaded not guilty to child sex abuse crimes. Dr. James Kohut was arraigned this morning on multiple child sex charges upon 5 children of the ages 14 and under in Santa Cruz County. And nurse Rochelle Brandon was also in court today. And North Monterey County High School was locked down after receiving a bomb threat yesterday. The call was made by an anonymous female and claimed that there was a bomb on campus. The school was locked down through lunchtime. Following a check of the campus, classes resumed later in the afternoon. It was the second bomb threat of the year at that school. And some organizations are calling for amplified voices to address the Medicaid cuts in President Trump's budget proposal and the American Health Care Act. The National Committee for Responsive Philanthropy is urging foundations to advocate for better health outcomes for all citizens. Daniel Zingale with the California Endowment says they're supporting groups that are helping vulnerable people get heard.
We have a responsibility to make sure those 20 plus million people are included in the conversation. Their experiences should be brought to the attention of policymakers. We need to hear from the people who have the most at stake in some of the things that are threatening to happen from Washington, D.C.
Zingale points out that the AHCA would allow insurance companies to charge people ages 50 to 64 up to 5 times more than younger people for their health coverage. And the Avenue of the Flag ceremony will be held this weekend in honor of those who have fallen while serving their country. KSCO spoke with Senator Bill Monning about the upcoming event.
There's really a beautiful ceremony by veterans. The Avenue of the Flags, they place flags that have been purchased by family members in the memory of a fallen. There's a flag there for my father who died on active duty, and it's been supported by the members of LULAC, League of United Latin American Citizens in Castroville. And perhaps the most poignant part of that ceremony at the end, they read the names of all the fallen soldiers from all wars from Castroville, a very small community, and you hear the names of multiple family members who fell in Korea, World War II, Vietnam, to the more current wars. It's a very compelling service and one that we mark each year.
The event will be held on Memorial Day at the Castroville Cemetery located in Moss Landing. It's 5:11. Time to get back to Flight 1080. I'm Phil D. Seth for KSCO Radio.
Ed Robertson inviting you to join us for the next edition of TV Confidential, Sunday morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. here on KSCO AM 1080 in Santa Cruz. If all goes well, our guests will include Danelle Dadigan, founder of the world-famous Hollywood Museum. We'll join us for that. That's TV Confidential every Sunday morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. on AM 1080 KSCO. Listen and be heard.
The Santa Cruz Art of Guitar exhibit and festival begins June 2nd with events scheduled through July 15th, celebrating the unique creativity of the many world-renowned guitar makers and players who make Santa Cruz County their home. For more information on the exhibits, concerts, and open studios, go to the website santacruzluthiers.org or call Maggie at 1-800-262-8858.
Is your internet connection slow? Do you experience outages or dread calling customer support? How about your latency? Etheric Networks can help you. Etheric Networks is the Bay Area's locally owned alternative to DSL satellite and cable. Etheric provides fast, reliable, symmetric internet via our wholly owned network of towers covering the Bay Area from Salinas to Santa Cruz to Sausalito. We install a 2-foot dish on your building and point it to one of our towers to connect you directly to the major data centers of Silicon Valley. Etheric directly connects to Tier 1 companies like Google, Facebook, and Amazon to ensure high-quality service from your building to the world. KSCO Residential Special. Residential service up to 10 megabits per second, symmetric, that's up and down, for $85 a month and $199 installation, with guaranteed minimum speeds and uptime, unlike our competitors. Etheric Networks. Call 650-399-4200. That's 650-399-4200. Etheric.net. That's ETHERIC.net.
Hi, Jacoby here, host of Raising the Standards, right here on KSCO Saturdays, 5 p.m. Tune in and join me, Rachel, my co-host, our buddy Rick, and some of the most interesting folks in the world as we chat and play the best music on the planet. Now remember, if at some point during the program you're not offended, well, you're just not listening. Raising the Standards, Saturdays here on KSCO.
Don't miss Raising the Standards with Mike Jacoby, Rick, and Rachel. Saturdays from 5 to 6 p.m.
Music, wonderful music on KSCO 1080.
218-572-6479-1080 if you want to get on board. 479-1080, DM at KSCO.com will work as well. This show is being brought to you in part by our good friends at the Santa Cruz Sentinel. 3 fantastic deals for listeners of Flight 1080. The number to call is 706-3261. That's area code 831-706-3261. Deal number 1, Sundays only, 26 weeks, less than $1 per Sunday. Deal number 2, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 13 weeks, less than 50 cents per day. 7 days a week for 8 weeks, you're going to pay 35 cents per day. 706-3261, that's 706-3261, only for listeners of Flight 1080. Chris Spencer just walked into the building. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing good, guys. How's it going?
Well, we're all right.
Live and kicking?
Yeah, we're all right.
Does the Sentinel still have newspaper kids to
No.
ride around on bicycles?
No.
They have newspaper adults.
I wonder why they did that. I'm sure it had to do with liability.
What?
Child labor
and
laws.
insurance. Yeah.
Can't use 10
I think it's just because it's a really cheap job that only happened in the mornings before school. So you could kids were willing to do that.
Right, but why aren't they doing it anymore?
Well, one, because I think maybe some parents aren't comfortable with their kids, I don't know, cruising around at 4 a.m. And then also is because now there's adults that need that job.
Yeah. 479-1080. Let's get out to the phone lines. I'm going to hit next and see who we bring up. Dan in Pacific Grove, you're in the air.
Good afternoon. Hey, regarding this reporter, the congressman, I've not studied the matter too closely, but the more I hear about it, it seems to me both of them, they both sound like immature jerks who lack the maturity to deal with a rather low level of hostility and stress. And at the end of the day, the reporter didn't get the interview, and the congressman came out looking like a jerk, falling over himself, apologizing, and I guess hoping he doesn't get charged with battery. But sadly, I'm not familiar with his politics, but now the congressman's in the position of going from these schoolyard antics with the reporter to being in position of approving a dropping of bombs on another country. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
I think they both need to grow up a bit. I think that was the root of the problem here.
Yeah, I think there's enough blame to go around, Dan. 479-1080, thank you for the call.
I mean, it's like I said, I don't doubt that the reporter antagonized him. I know how reporters can be. I guarantee you he wasn't supposed to be in that office. I guarantee you he was over-aggressive, shoving the microphone in his face. But the guy's reaction was way out of line.
Yeah. Let's head out to Boulder Creek. Gordy, you're in the air.
Look, I can fill in a lot of background here. You had some questions about why Gianna Forte was running. For purpose of disclosure, I'm a member of SEAL Political Action Committee. Ryan Zinke, who is a SEAL, went to work for the Trump administration, and he left that office vacant. Immediately, Nancy Pelosi handpicked a person to run against Greg in that election. Okay, now the history of SEAL PAC, we've gotten 5 people who are former Navy SEALs elected to office in this last election. Now Greg himself, Gianna Forte, he's founded 5 different startup companies. He's worked to improve Montana's economy through the Better Montana Jobs Project, and he has launched scholarship programs to help low-income Montana students and veterans pursue education. And his statement is, in Congress, he'll fight back against any tax increases, defend the Second Amendment, and protect your access to our public lands. Work to strengthen Social Security and Medicare and fight for jobs, and stand up to the special interests in Washington, D.C. and establishment to drain the swamp. So there's a little bit of brief history about why this election occurred, because Ryan Zinke did vacate his office to go work for the Trump administration, and Greg was somebody that was also very good in Montana for the people there, and he was a natural fit to take over Ryan Zinke's position. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them.
No, Gordy, I had no questions about it before. I think you raised some good details. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So, and as for this incident, what is not being reported, this so-called reporter, who's an antagonist that works for the left, he not only shoved the microphone in the face of Greg, but he grabbed a hold of him and tried to pull him into the microphone. The moment he made contact like that, Greg had every right to...
Are you sure that happened, Gordy? Are you sure the reporter laid hands on him? Because if he did, then you're right.
Absolutely.
I'd
and
snap
this
his
is the
fingers
part,
off.
I also need to say that the woman that allegedly witnessed this has walked back her claim. She did not see what happened. She only saw Greg's hands go up into the air, and the rest of it she did not see at all. And she has walked that back now. She's also said that but that's not what's being reported in the media.
Right.
And as for Fox, Fox has changed their composition here quite a bit in the last 6 months. They are falling in line with the rest of the media here and going for the sensationalism. They fired a number of people there at Fox, and they're become a part of this media that is not serving the public well and is not accurately reporting the whole stories anymore.
Thank you for the call, Gordy.
Body slam.
479-1080. You know, the thing is, Fox, I think, dropped down to number 2 in ratings, or number 3 now. MSNBC took over the number 1 spot, but that's only while they're airing like the anti-Trump programs. During the rest of the programs, during the news. So in other words, Rachel Maddow and that other clown. Rachel Maddow is the one who's she's really cleaning up in ratings right now. It's the anti-Trump programming that's doing good. Otherwise, MSNBC during the rest of the hours is not doing well. But during those hours, during Rachel Maddow and I guess those shows that focus on anti-Trump rhetoric, those shows are doing good.
Does that mean people are leaving Fox News to watch anti-Trump shows on MSN?
Yes.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know. It doesn't make any sense, except for maybe you want to go and see where the action is, right? Because if everyone on Fox is just going, oh, we're all good, we're all good, hey, everything's great, who wants to watch that? That's boring. You want to see somebody who's losing their mind, right? Saying, oh, the Republicans, and then you can just laugh at them and go, yes, yes, look at her go crazy, yes.
Hate to admit it, I'm one of them.
Right?
I
don't watch Fox News anymore.
I know what they're going to, I know what Hannity's going to say.
You,
what I want to know is
please.
what Rachel Maddow's going to say and watch her head twist around.
Right. 479-1080. Let's get out to the phone lines. Pete is calling from Santa Cruz. You're in the air.
Hey, Dave, how are you doing?
Good, Pete. What's up?
Hey, listen, a little paperboy history here. I'm a local yokel here, and I delivered the Sentinel from 1961 to 65.
Oh.
And the Sentinel used to be a afternoon paper, Monday through Friday, and then no paper on Saturday, and it'd be a morning paper on Sunday. So it was really a great job. I mean, within 3 months, I remember back in the 60s, I bought myself a brand new Peugeot French 10-speed bicycle, and I saved up enough money to where I was 16. I was able to buy a car, and the paper was really cool. It was actually kind of a lot of fun. And here, you'll enjoy this part of it, is while I was rolling papers, the papers would be delivered to my house about 3:30. Well, 4 o'clock, between 4 and 4:30, the Three Stooges were on. So I could roll papers and watch the Three Stooges and then go out on my route. I tell you, what a good life.
That is the life right there.
Yeah. Thank you for
it was good.
I loved my paper route. Did you ever have a paper route, Chris? Thank you for the call, Pete.
I did, and mine is not a good one. For one, I was a skinny, small little guy, and I had a bunch of papers. And my paper route was along here by Portola and everything, and you got to go up and down a lot of hills. And when I got the paper route, it was in winter, and it was raining, and I had to go out and deliver papers like in the rain. I mean, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
479-1080.
No, I lived up on Highway 17, man. That wasn't going to happen.
Rick is up next calling from Oakdale, wants to talk about what happened in Montana. You're in the air, Rick.
Hey, guys, you know, it's funny that the guys are talking about in fake news and all this stuff. It's not a matter of fake news or real news. It's a matter of not reporting the news at all. Gordy just gave you an example of that they just don't report it. They don't lie. They just don't cover it. And it's not that Rachel Maddow has got these great ratings. Everybody is turning off. I watch it on Twitter. We're turning it all off. I haven't watched news. You know, you guys... KSCO is the only thing I listen to. I don't listen to any news, any television, anything. Fox, I quit watching them 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I do my own research. But the guy, if he was stupid enough to lay his hands on a seal, he deserves everything he got. Now, these guys are antagonists, and if they find a weak spot, they'll go after it. But see, it wasn't a matter of the seal losing his temper. It was a matter of trained reaction. And he will be acquitted if this guy laid his hand on it.
Thank you for the
great.
Thank you for the call, Rick. 479-1080, and maybe he should be acquitted if the guy laid his hand.
Well,
you know, technically you could get away with it, but still, it's still an
overreaction. If he stuffed the microphone and hit him with a microphone, that's getting hit, plain and simple. Yeah.
And you know what I heard?
There's a difference between getting hit and getting bumped, though.
I heard
that. Overreaction.
I heard that when he shoved the mic in his face, and then he went to grab the Navy SEAL guy. that when the Navy SEAL went to like move him away, they both tripped and like fell on each other.
Oh, come on, dude.
That's what I heard.
Come on.
I don't know.
That sounds a lot like
that's
the
ridiculous.
campaign spokesman statement.
Yeah, you don't believe that, do you?
I'm just saying what I heard.
Yeah.
It's not that I believe it. It's just intel.
Yeah. 479-1080, dm@ksco.com. That sounds like somebody making up an excuse, like when you punch your younger brother or your cousin or something. Oh, no, we were playing and then we fell over.
He
and
tripped and fell into my fist, Mom, I swear.
Right.
I accidentally ran down the hall and body slammed my sister this
I
one
put
time.
him in the dryer. It was an accident. I thought he was a towel.
479-1080. What are you going to do on Monday, Ben? How are you going to celebrate Memorial Day? Because we're not having a show on Monday, by the way.
I'm probably going to go to the veterans ceremony or cemetery, and I don't know.
No, really?
Probably go to the beach if it's nice.
I thought you said you were going to go see the veterans at the cemetery.
No, I'd do that on Veterans Day, right?
Oh, okay. 479-1080.
You do it on Memorial Day, too.
You do it on Memorial Day.
We're memorializing the people who died for the country and all the past
Is it
wars.
people who died or people who fought? I guess people who died, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. You're remembering their living
contributions.
Person. You know, I mean, there was a lot of people. I think our total is like 500,000 people in the last few great wars, so to speak, which is nothing compared to Russia, who lost like 30 million and so on and so forth. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, we lost a lot of people, but those European countries, they lost millions and millions of
Generations.
people.
479-1080. Let's head out to the phone lines. Pick up Jose calling from Watsonville. You're in the air.
Hey, DM.
Hey, Jose.
You know those guys that shot that guy who was interrupted their little car robbery? It reminded me of back home. One of my friends, Lloyd, his dad, Mr. Booker, he's a big black man. He was out squirrel hunting, and one of his nephews accidentally shot him in the foot. So, you know, he just told everybody, don't get mad, nothing. He walked up to the nephew, takes his little Ruger 10/22 out of his hand, and shoots him back in the same foot. You know, so I think that's what we should do to those guys. You know, just give him first crack. If he wants to shoot him one time, you know, let it happen. And then as far as congressmen, we should quit being big babies, man. You know, if you violate somebody, you know, you get hit. That's how it goes. That's all I got to say.
Thank you for your call, 479-1080.
If I walked up to anybody, any man out that had, you know, a pair of cojones, and I walked up and shoved anything towards them, that's what's going to happen to you. You're going to get thrown down. You're going to get knocked out. It's just reality, man. It's not that it's right, but it's a reality.
Well,
and they're making such a big deal about it.
You realize that as a politician, this guy's going to be having microphones shoved in his face for the next 2 years.
Well, you know, I think there's no video of what happened, right? It's just audio.
It's audio.
So it's just speculation at this point. You know, we don't know. You know, like he's saying, like Wes was saying, he's a Navy SEAL. They're taught, just like when I did karate, when someone gets into a certain area of your space physically, and there's just things that automatically are triggered in you to keep them away from you. So we, you know, politician or not, there are these triggers people have, and once you step into that zone, you're gonna meet it.
479-1080, dm@ksco.com. It's 5:31. We're gonna break for CBS News traffic weather. I'm getting tired of traffic. Oh boy, I hope things change out there. KSCO Santa Cruz Flight 1080. CBS News up next.
CBS News Update. President Trump reconsidering his position on climate change and withdrawing from the Paris Accord. His top economic advisor, Gary Cohn, with the president at the G7 summit in Sicily.
I think his views are evolving, and he came here to learn, and he came here to get smarter. He came here to hear people's world leaders' views.
CBS's Major Garrett says Mr. Trump's first overseas trip as president is different from his predecessors.
We have been with President Trump since last Friday. Not a single press conference up until now, and one is not scheduled for his last day here in Taormina, Italy tomorrow. It may be added to the schedule, though all of us traveling with the president have our doubts.
When the president returns to the White House, CBS News political director Steve Chigara says there may be a major staff shakeup.
The thinking here is you bring in some people perhaps that the president's more comfortable with than whoever he has currently in his communications staff, to sit him down and to work out bullet points, to work out rapid response so that everybody's on the same page.
CBS News Update. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
You're listening to AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz. It's 5:32. Time for local headlines. Here's Phil Deseth.
Thanks, Dave, and good afternoon, Central Coast. CSUMB has received a grant that will be used for suicide prevention. Yesterday, Congressman Jimmy Panetta announced that California State University Monterey Bay will receive a federal grant totaling $91,990 from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Center for Mental Health Services. The Mental Health and Substance Abuse Service Grant will be used by CSUMB's Garrett Lee Smith Campus Suicide Prevention Project. A two-car crash backed up traffic on Highway 17 yesterday. The incident took place shortly before 1:30 p.m. when a motorist attempting to turn onto the northbound lanes of Highway 17 from Glenwood Drive was struck by a car traveling in the southbound lanes. One person was hospitalized. The cause of the crash is under investigation. And the 33rd Annual Santa Cruz Longbird Club Invitational will be held this weekend. The event will feature amateur and pro surfers. Attendees will have the opportunity to win a local shared custom surfboard. The event takes place tomorrow and Sunday at Steamer Lane and Lighthouse Point. For more information, visit SantaCruzLongboardUnion.com. It's 5:33, time to get back to Flight 1080. I'm Phil Deseth for KSCO Radio.
Thank you for that traffic update, Phil. The time is now 5:34. Let's take a quick look at traffic. Highway 17, Campbell into Los Gatos, 10 miles per hour. A little slow-moving, maybe still near Vine Hill, but that appears to have cleared up. It might still be just a little smidgen under the limit, so be ready for that. Here in Santa Cruz, southbound 1, stop and go from Santa Cruz into Aptos. Moss Landing, both directions just before the harbor, 10 miles per hour. Southbound 101 through Coyote Valley, Gilroy, and then again near 156, stop and go. Northbound 101 heading into Salinas, they're doing about 20 miles per hour until you make it past the Main Street area. Let me see what exit that is. That is Market Street. Yeah, Main Street. Once you make it past there, you should be back to the limit. 475-1080 with your traffic reports, dm@ksco.com.
Guess who's back on KSCO with his own show? Remember Wes, the gun guy? Well, Wes is now talking about stocks. No, I didn't make that up. You couldn't make that up. Really, his show's called My 2 Cents. He and a bunch of his friends are going to sit around like they're playing poker, and they're going to talk about stocks. Now, before you invest any money in anything Wes and his buddies talk about, do your due diligence. He might know what he's talking about, then again, maybe not. Sunday, 6 p.m., right here on KSCO.
How many radio ads do you hear where they got a deal for you? Hi, I'm Jim Peterson, founder of Solar for America by Peterson Dean. Every day of the week, we offer household electricity for 66% less than you're paying the utility company. How? With a Solar for America rooftop solar power system. The only thing you pay for is the equipment and the labor. Then you become your own utility and generate your own power for the next 30-plus years. We don't stock you at Home Depot, Lowe's, or Costco. We simply provide the equipment and the labor to install the system. You reap all the benefits. We use only American-made equipment. Oh, and we're roofers too, so you won't have a roof leak when we're done. Peterson Dean Solar for America, the one, the only, and the original since 1984. Call me, 888-988-7017. That's 888-988-7017. Or online at petersondean.com. 888-988-7017. That's 888-988-7017.
California CSOB 468117.
Healthcare that fits your Santa Cruz lifestyle. That's why Dignity Health Dominican Hospital and Dignity Health Medical Group Dominican work with you to make personal choices regarding your health. It's the type of care we can offer because we're more than just a hospital and medical group. We're part of this community. Visit DominicanHospital.org to find a doctor and start living healthy today. Healthcare that fits your Santa Cruz lifestyle. Dignity Health. Hello, human kindness.
You have cancer, and unless you take serious action immediately, you will be dead within 2 years. Devastating words that no one wants to hear ever. Well, my friend Bob heard those words recently, and as you can imagine, it turned his world upside down. Thoughts of losing body parts and body functions, having people treat him differently, the pall of depression, and even consideration of suicide are just some of the things that raced through his mind, until he grabbed hold of himself and decided to deal decisively with this problem. What he has learned in this process, he wants to share with everyone. All of us are touched by cancer every day, if not personally through experiences of friends and loved ones. Granted, the topic is not a happy one, but Bob's journey is worth chronicling, starting with the next KSCO special this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, right here on No Need to Be Alone Ever Radio, AM 1080 KSCO.
In Santa Cruz and Monterey, AM 1080, KSCO.
That's enough of that. I can't. Ugh. I know some people like that barbershop stuff.
You don't dig it?
Dude. 4791080.
I think Dave's ready for a 3-day weekend.
I think I am ready for a nap. I went walking around almost twice. I went around one and a half times around Point Lobos this morning, man, and I am bushed.
Ready for a nap.
I'm ready for a nap. 4791080. First, though, we've got some stuff to discuss. How about this story? Now I'm looking for something that we can sink our teeth into.
Let's do it. I'm
something.
hungry.
What are we going to do?
I'm
I don't
hungry.
know. Read off some stories. Let's get it.
Speaking
let's
of
get it
sinking
going
your
on.
teeth into something, Chris, that's a good segue.
Today's
Mountain Mike's special, $5 off any large pizza. 477-7760 is their number. Head down to Mountain Mike's Pizza. Get $5 off any large pizza. You name it. You pick it. $5 off.
Even the Billy Sunshine Special.
Even the Billy Sunshine Special. Okay. How about this story then?
Let's try it.
The Manchester bombing, you know, that happened at the Ariana Grande concert earlier this week, right? It happened this week, right, Ben?
Terrible.
Happened this week, okay.
I got a story
terrible,
about that.
terrible. Trump vows to prosecute whoever it was that leaked information early to the American media, right? Or to world media.
Yeah, I think the name of the bomber was released to U.S. media.
To U.S. media, and then from there, it's just, you know, it's just
it's
a matter
out
of
there.
time. It's out there. So Trump says, we are going to catch the people who leaked this information.
Yeah, because I think the United Kingdom actually cut off sharing classified information with the U.S. Over this leak.
When I was on my way in, I didn't hear the whole story, but they found 3 people inside the White House that supposedly have leaked some things, and they're going to get canned.
They should get canned.
Yeah. But I don't know if that
whoever's
was that.
leaking. I don't know who's leaking. I'm sure there's lots of people leaking in that White House. I mean, geez.
Well, it's the White House.
It's a bunch of
in
leakers.
It's in a bunch of different departments.
They need to
including
catch them all.
Intelligence.
They need to catch them all and prosecute them or do whatever they need to do because you cannot be leaking information. You can't do
Well,
it.
they're former Obama people.
Well, it doesn't matter. I don't care what their background is. You're probably right, but to me, it doesn't matter. You cannot leak information. You can't do it.
Totally agree.
He had that show for 7 years. You're fired. You're fired. He knows how to say it. Why doesn't he start doing it?
Well, I think he did do it to Comey, right? He did it to Comey.
You know what? Comey would have been out if it was him or Hillary. I mean, so.
What's different if it's an appointed person versus a career person that's, you know, falls under the unions? It's a little different than just you're fired.
I don't know. Doesn't Trump have the right to fire anyone within the federal government?
No.
Like any federal employee?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
They're still union.
Maybe
You know,
someone
get the
could call
federal
us
union.
and give us the details on that.
218-5726.
So the Manchester thing. So like I told you, I was in an OSHA class all week. Oh, by the way, check this out too. So the lady that instructed, which she was phenomenal, and I know you go an OSHA class, really? Honest to God, she was the assistant director of safety during the World Trade Center cleanup. She got there 2 days after the terrorist attack, and she was there for months. Worked there 7 days a week. Honestly, one of the best classes I've ever taken. But anyway, with that man, I was coming out of the class that night, and I got in between the news stories. I kick on the radio, and I just hear that the UK has been bombed, right? Well, my youngest son is over there studying in London right now.
Mm-hmm.
And talk about all of a sudden
check.
your heart jumped out. I try to call him. I can't get a hold of him. I call my wife. I say, find the kid. I don't care where he's at. I want to know where he's at right now. And then I found out it was an Ariana concert, and then, well, that he wouldn't do that. So, but anyway, talk about having your heart jump out of your chest real quick.
Yeah, that would be a scary moment.
If you found out your son was at the Ariana Grande concert, would you be more upset about that, or would you be more relieved that he was okay?
I'd be like, what girl convinced you to go to an Ariana concert? That's what I'd be saying to him. But yeah, no, it jumped right out of my chest. My heart did when I first heard it, because it was in between. Didn't say where quite exactly, so just got all nervous.
479-1080. Check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/flight1080. See if any of those stories pique your interest, and give us a call. How about this one? U.S. is going to attempt to shoot down an ICBM. Did you hear about this story? Any of you guys?
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows North Korea has given us some concern, right?
Right. Very much.
So the latest practice drill that the United States is doing is to try to shoot down an ICBM, a dummy ICBM that's going to be launched from the Marshall Islands. It's going to be launched from the Marshall Islands, and the intercepting missile will be launched from Vandenberg Air Force Base. So if you look in the right spot, you should. Maybe it depends on how high
across
up. You'll see it streaming across, but maybe even see it intercept. I don't know how high up that would happen, but that's the plan. They're going to try to hit that missile with another one. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, you always hear about these cruise missiles that they can, fly and hit a camel and some.
Right.
The saying. Right?
Apparently, it's hard to knock down a missile with another missile. I would think that you could just make it like a shotgun scatter, right? You just have one missile go and boom, and just have a bunch of stuff explode, like flak, right?
Yeah.
Like anti-artillery, anti-aircraft flak. You just shoot that stuff up there, and it explodes, sends a bunch of shrapnel into the sky. The planes fly through it. Boom. You knock down the plane. I would think you could do the same thing with the missile. Just launch a bunch of stuff.
The problem is that missile is flying at thousands and thousands of miles an hour. It's going extremely fast. It's a humongous, rocket engine taking off. Now, the other thing is when you have cruise missiles, they fly really low. So that's the problem with the cruise missile. Like the Chinese, they have a cruise missile called a Sunfire missile. That's made for, they designed it to take out an aircraft carrier. And that missile flies at wave top level. So the odds of, trying to see that thing coming in and shooting it down at something when it's flying at about, those probably fly at about subsonic, those ones, because they take off like from a rocket, but then they come down and fly low like our Tomahawk cruise missiles do.
If you had asked me my opinion, the reason that we're announcing that we're going to test and shoot out an ICBM out of the air is because not only do we already have the capability and we've already done it, we want to show North Korea that we can and not to even mess with us.
Well, I think we're showing them that we can use the cheapest means possible that we have to shoot down one, because we have 747s that have chemical lasers in them. You can look that up on your computer. I can't remember the name of that system, but it has a big laser lens on the front of the nose of the 747, and it has a full chemical laser system inside of the plane, and it could be flying up there at a very high altitude and hit an ICBM when it was coming off its launch pad. So, I don't know what the range is of those lasers. Technically, I don't know how many hundreds of miles away that, what its strength is. But we do have that capability.
Do you guys remember Star Wars?
The movie Star Wars? Or
no,
Reagan Star Wars?
Reagan Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
The SDI.
Yeah.
Because that's what this made me think about.
Well, what people have said, though, that Star Wars program was about was keeping the visitors from other civilizations.
Like aliens?
If you want to call them that, we'd be alien to them, right? So I just call them visitors. That program was put up there for them, and not necessarily missile defense. That's just what I've studied about.
My 2 cents on that is.
Are you plugging your show?
No, I wasn't. It's a constant thing I say. My 2 cents.
Because I was giving you an opportunity to plug your show.
Yeah, tell us about your show too, Wes.
The space shuttle put up a lot of equipment over the years that it was flying. It would not surprise me that there are some military-grade satellites in the sky that are armed. That would be the best way to put it, with things.
Well, yeah, definitely. But most of those went up on rockets. Most of the military stuff, they don't even want the astronauts seeing. They're not that. The astronauts don't even have the security level to be seeing any of that stuff. So most of the time, they'd launch those from Vandenberg, or they would launch them from down in Florida, Cape Canaveral, and they use the different rocket systems they have, and then they put those top secret satellites up in space, and no one even knows when they launch them up there. Maybe, well, they do have to tell like Russia and different countries, yeah, we're launching a rocket, because see, Russia has a system of satellites that is very antiquated, but they still use them, and they're infrared satellites, and they can see when, just like we do, they can see when any rocket is launching from the Earth, because during the Cold War they put those systems up to see if we were going to launch a nuclear bomb at them, and because if they don't let them know that there's going to be a rocket launching, the way the programming works with their computer is the satellite up in space will tell a operating system that's close enough to where that missile is going to intercept it, hey, they're launching an unscheduled rocket over here, and it could be coming at us. And so the wheels start to turn. There's just certain things that start happening when they're not notified.
We have a lot of things that the general public doesn't know about. I am absolutely confident in that.
Well, there's no doubt.
And I know that when we say that we're going to test to shoot out an ICBM out of the sky, no, we've already done that.
Well, yeah, I think China did that with... I think China actually sent like I don't know if it was a rocket or if it was actually like it wasn't an artillery round, but it was a rocket. They knocked one of their old satellites out. If you remember, that happened a few years back.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, they did. So it's all about math, right? Because you know how fast it's moving, and then when you want to, it's like when we duck hunt, right? So it's just like you want them to meet at the same time. So you do the math, right?
And wait a minute, you don't do math every time you go shoot at a duck, do you?
Your brain does it for you. Your brain is doing it for you, though.
My brain doesn't do it.
Are you saying that all those hours I sat in geometry class were actually worth something?
Yeah.
No,
They
it
were.
wasn't. No, I'm just kidding.
They were.
More than 130 UC Santa Cruz students, faculty, alumni, parents, and donors, as well as numerous Jewish leaders, are demanding Chancellor George Blumenthal implement the UC Regents' Statement of Principles Against Intolerance in response to recent and ongoing incidents they say actively suppress Jewish and pro-Israel students' freedom of expression and assembly.
Well, yeah, for some reason...
Did I read that right?
No, it's true. For some reason, liberals are like the most like anti-Jewish people on the planet in comparison to like the Nazis back in the late 30s and early 40s. It's unbelievable. They have this idea that all Jewish people want to like kill Palestinians, and that's like they don't live over there in Jerusalem. They don't have 75 rockets a day shot at their civilians. They don't understand how Israel has to build up buffer zones to keep these people far enough away from shooting rockets at them. They just got to think about more what they're doing. They want to have all this free speech, but then they don't want other people to be able to speak.
The letter primarily addresses a May 2nd incident in which a celebration of Israeli Independence Day, produced by Santa Cruz Hillel, was disrupted by student protesters led by the African Black Student Alliance. Hillel is a university-affiliated organization with close ties to campus administration and Jewish student organizations. This is what happened on May 2nd. Shortly after the Hillel students had set up their event, protesters streamed into Quarry Plaza and, for more than an hour, purposefully purposefully blocked Hillel's tables from being accessed and used a public address system at full blast, making it impossible for attendees to hear and enjoy the program planned for the Hillel event. That's kind of rude.
Big time.
Right, so these Jewish students are they're gonna have an event. These guys go out there, block the path to the tables, and then they start blabbing over a megaphone so that you can't hear what these students are
shouting
saying.
over the other festivities.
It's just a
Wait,
double standard.
these are the same students that went and shut down the campus, right? They took over Kerr Hall.
Mm-hmm.
And got the housing that they wanted.
4792. Well, that hasn't been done yet. They got the agreement.
Right, they got the agreement. They got the chancellor to cave.
Right.
I think this was on the same day.
Really? It was around the same time, that's for sure.
Yeah, they said this was on May 2nd. I mean, the news stories about the Kerr Hall occupation or whatever you want to call it were on May 2nd.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's about the same time, yeah. If you give license to this behavior, if you allow it to be rewarded as opposed to condemned and punished, it will continue and get worse and worse.
That's what's been going on. It's just getting worse and worse and worse.
Well, it shows you that's what Paul Harvey told us, in '64 when he gave that speech about how, schools one day would have, metal detectors and cops in them because they don't control students' behavior.
I was reading a letter about white supremacy literature being left up at UCSC. I think I just want to get off this topic. This is horrible because
I think that was another one of the complaints from this Jewish group.
Neither one of these, right? Because they're being hit from both groups. That kind of sucks.
There's such a small majority. They're a small minority. You know what I mean? Of people on the planet. I don't know why there's so much hate for the Jewish race. It's just unbelievable. Didn't they pay their dues enough in World War II and all the other things that have happened to them through time? I mean just let them be and prosper.
471980. Man crashes into the Moonlight Bunny Ranch. That's boring.
That's boring?
Moonlight Bunny Ranch? What?
What's a bunny ranch?
The Bunny Ranch. That's the bunny ranch up in Nevada.
A masked man in bunny armor crashed an 18-wheeler.
Not bunny armor.
Not
body armor.
Body armor. Well, he needed bunny armor.
Bunny armor would be okay. Okay. A man wearing body armor and a mask backed a tractor trailer through the gate of the Moonlight Bunny Ranch before dawn Thursday and crashed it into the front door of the famed Nevada brothel featured in the Cat House reality TV show. Something
on HBO,
I guess. Is it? Really
I think so. Yeah, HBO or
Is it really a reality show?
Yeah.
A show about a brothel would probably have to be on HBO. Right?
Yeah.
I don't really watch TV, so I have no idea.
No one was hurt. It happened just after 4 a.m. The guy was arrested. Caused $400,000 worth of damage. The girls are okay. The women are okay. The clients are okay. Everybody's okay.
It's a brothel.
Right.
Yes. You really never heard of the Moonlight Bunny Ranch?
I thought it was actually a ranch where they grew bunnies, where bunnies were mating. Not
speaking of that, I went hiking up at down at Point Lobos.
Yeah.
And yesterday we read a story about ticks being all over the place. And so I'm freaking out. I'm looking at myself, just scanning myself for ticks. And I see a rabbit, and that thing was loaded with ticks.
Oh, really?
That poor thing was loaded all up its ears, all over its face. I mean, that thing was loaded to the gills.
Really?
With ticks, yeah.
And you turned around and ran, didn't you?
No, he ran. I just
got rid of him.
A what?
Threw a what?
No, he just ran away, and it was all right. But yeah, you got to watch out for those things. Those things are loaded with ticks.
Dave's like, that bunny looks good to eat. Well, he's full of ticks. Never mind.
I felt sorry for the poor little guy.
You know how you get a tick out of you? Peppermint oil.
Yeah, we saw that video yesterday.
That's what
Andrea
was saying.
Yeah. They just back right out of you when you do that?
Yeah, it was incredible.
Well, they have that new tool now, too, that's made out of plastic. It's L-shaped, and it has like a fork at the end of it.
So you can go in and take about an inch of flesh out from underneath the head and then pull up?
No, you just slide it under them a little bit, and then it makes it so you can twist them out real easy.
The peppermint oil worked a whole lot better, and they back themselves out, and you don't have to worry about.
I was convinced on that commercial, man. It was the $9.95, $9.99.
And if you call now, you'll get 2.
Exactly.
So you could dig out 2 ticks at once.
You could be doing yourself and your dog at the same time.
479-1080.
Although that didn't sound right.
It didn't sound right.
Dave's perverted mind.
Right.
Dave's perverted mind.
This is definitely a Friday before a 3-day weekend.
The DC sniper is to be resentenced after a judge overturns life without parole rulings. Do you remember this guy, the D.C. sniper? There was 2 of them, right?
Yeah. They found him in his trunk or something, or hiding in his car.
A federal judge in Virginia overturned the 2 life sentences of Washington area sniper Lee Boyd Malvo.
When did this happen?
This happened, oh boy, it's been about 12 years ago, something like that, right? 10
Mm.
years ago. More than a decade after he was originally sentenced as a teenager. U.S. District Court Judge Raymond Jackson, in a rare move, sent Malvo's case back to the state courts in Chesapeake and Spotsylvania. That's the real place, Spotsylvania County in Virginia, for resentencing. He was one of 2 people convicted in the sniper attacks in the Washington, D.C. region that killed 10 people back in October of 2002.
I mean, that was terrible. A guy is sitting there just pumping his gas at the gas station and gets sniped. I mean, you got to be a sick human to do that.
I mean, you remember when all that was going on and how everybody was freaked out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was just on their toes with that.
479-1080. Let's go out to the phone lines. Yes?
Yes.
Sure, go to the phone lines.
Steve calling from Santa Cruz. You're in the air.
Please, Steve, save the
Hey.
show.
Okay, hey, I heard something that the peppermint oil makes the ticks throw up when you give it to them, so it doesn't do a good job.
Ew.
Yeah, so I don't
Gross.
think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's true.
What, so they barf in you and then come out?
Yeah, and that's what you don't want. You don't want them regurgitating their insides in you, because then that gives you Lyme disease if they have it.
Well,
yeah.
And then,
yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
and then
All
there
right,
you
Steve.
go.
Thank you.
That just,
Ew.
what do you do?
You know, that just felt like the grossest
You back the tick out, you
visual.
leave the tick's head in
Thanks,
there,
I guess.
and you get Lyme disease. You put peppermint oil on it, it throws up. You get Lyme disease.
You got to buy the tick fork.
The tick fork and get it
Yeah,
out of you.
see,
Gotta get 2
see,
of them.
I had the right thing.
$9.95.
One for you, one for your dog.
Rob is calling from Corralitos. You're in the air, Rob.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, Rob. What's up?
Hey, who said that about the Jewish people about just letting them be?
That is,
Was that Chris?
I believe so.
Chris, I believe that those words came straight from Jesus. God bless you. I think that was beautiful.
You're welcome.
There you go.
That was a big amen.
No problem.
That was all I got to say.
Shalom. Thank you. 479-1080. Can I say that? Can you
Yeah.
say that even if you're not Jewish? Can you say
Yeah,
shalom?
of course. Why not? It's a language.
Jesus was Jewish, wasn't he?
Yes.
Born a Jew.
LeBron James passes Michael Jordan for all-time playoff points.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting. To me, at least.
Tell us more, Ben. Tell us more.
Well, it's pretty straightforward. Michael Jordan, who most people regard as the greatest basketball player of all time,
And is.
was just recently passed last night by LeBron James in terms of all-time points.
Let me get your opinion, Ben. Is LeBron James a better player than Michael Jordan?
No, I wouldn't say so, but I would say it's debatable.
I'd say he's bigger though than
Two
than
different
Michael
styles?
Jordan.
He's a better
big-
all-around player.
He's a big guy.
Oh, no, he's
that's
a big
true.
guy, but
The
Jordan
thing-
can fly.
The thing that Jordan had over him was Jordan was a better scorer, and in basketball, that's the most important thing.
479-1080, DM at KSEO.com, 218-5726. We're going to break for CBS News. We'll be right back.
CBS News, I'm Deborah Rodriguez. 2 children found dead, locked inside a car in 90-plus degree temperatures near Fort Worth, Texas. Their mother says they did it on their own. KRLD reporter Austin York has more.
Parker County Sheriff's investigators were called to Rambling Loop west of Lake Weatherford, where they found the 2 children unresponsive inside the locked vehicle. The mother told deputies that both of the children took off, but after searching the area, she eventually found them inside the small 4-door vehicle on the property. She said the children had locked themselves inside. She broke the window, but it was too late. The children were a 16-month-old son and a 2-year-old daughter. That daughter had just celebrated her birthday in February. No word yet on if the mother will face charges. Austin York, CBS News, Dallas.
A mortician at Dover Air Force Base now under investigation for offering to show Pentagon officials the remains of hero astronaut John Glenn.
I just want to say that I'm embarrassed for my profession to put that out there, and kind of heartbroken, and I hope that the family's not offended in any way.
William Zagorowski says he wanted to show the inspectors embalming techniques used on remains kept for long periods of time. John Glenn died in December. He was buried in April at his widow's request on their wedding anniversary. His story made headlines 15 years ago. Now, Washington, D.C. sniper Lee Boyd Malvo's 2 life sentences have been thrown out.
Malvo will get new sentencing hearings on 4 murder and attempted murder counts in Virginia because a federal judge finds Malvo didn't get the benefit of sentencing protections for juvenile offenders that the Supreme Court recently found are constitutional rights. Malvo is serving life, but he was 17 when he was arrested in 2002, so the new hearings will consider whether he is a rare child whose crimes reflect irreparable corruption. He's hoping for similar resentencing in Maryland cases too. The other D.C. sniper, John Allen Muhammad, was executed in 2009. He was 48. Max Smith for CBS News, Washington.
Pressure from other world leaders may be swaying President Trump's views on climate change. CBS's Major Garrett with Mr. Trump at the G7 summit in Taormina, Italy.
European and Canadian leaders want the president to endorse the 195-nation Paris Climate Accord, something President Obama signed, but Mr. Trump has so far resisted. Today, the president's top economic advisor, Gary Cohn, indicated Mr. Trump may be changing his mind.
I think his views are evolving, and he came here to learn, and he came here to get smarter. He came here to hear people's world leaders' views.
The president won't make a decision until after the G7 meeting.
Hillary Clinton at her alma mater, Wellesley College, where she told grads the Trump administration is waging a full-fledged assault on truth and reason.
It matters because if our leaders lie about the problems we face, we'll never solve them.
Dow closed down too. This is CBS News.
A few years ago, my wife and I went shopping for amazing quality luxury bedding we could actually afford. And what did we find? Nothing. Hi, I'm Scott Tannen. Missy and I started Boll & Branch because we want you to be able to afford the best bedding in the world. By cutting out the middlemen and only selling online at bollandbranch.com, our award-winning sheets cost less than half of designer brands and are twice the quality. Every set is crafted from 100% organic cotton. They get softer and softer over time. That's why we have thousands of 5-star reviews, and even 3 U.S. presidents have Boll & Branch sheets. There's no risk. Try them for 30 nights. If you don't love them, send them back for a full refund. Go to bollandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set of sheets, plus free shipping when you use promo code SLEEP. That's $50 off plus free shipping right now at bollandbranch.com. Promo code SLEEP. bollandbranch.com spelled BOLL and branch.com. Promo code SLEEP.
They're getting some new treats at a notorious jail in Chicago.
Often when you hear news about the Cook County Jail, it's not good.
Breaking tonight, new video shows a chaotic brawl at the Cook County Jail.
But there's something different about the place now. Inmates in the medium security section are now allowed to order in pizza, which they pay for themselves. The sheriff says the idea is to make the jail more humane. An Italian chef has been brought in to oversee the operation in which other inmates bake pizzas and deliver them straight to cells. Any misbehavior? No pizza. One pizza delivery detainee says the other inmates' eyes light up like Christmas when the pizza arrives. Sam Litzinger, CBS News.
Ariana Grande, whose concert was rocked by a suicide bombing in Manchester, England, says she will stage a benefit concert there for the victims and their families. She says she'll release dates and details once the plans are confirmed. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Wouldn't it be great if you could stop crime before it happens? With the Ring Floodlight Cam, you can. I'm Jamie Siminoff, inventor and founder of Ring. Floodlight Cam is a motion-activated HD security camera that connects right to your phone, so you're alerted when anyone steps onto your property. You can now see, speak, or even sound an alarm right from your phone, anywhere, anytime. Does your floodlight prevent crime? Ours does. Go to ring.com/advantage and save $150 off of a Ring of Security kit. That's ring.com/advantage.
Finding great people to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's time to try ZipRecruiter, where 80% of jobs get a qualified candidate in just one day. How? Using powerful technology, ZipRecruiter matches your job to the right candidates fast. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/talk for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/talk.
Good afternoon, everyone. You're listening to AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz, AM 1340 KOMY La Selva Beach, Watsonville. The time is now 6:06. It's time for traffic and weather. Let's start off with weather. Tonight we're expecting partly cloudy conditions. Overnight lows should be around 53 degrees. Tomorrow, gradually becoming sunny by noon. Highs should be around 67 degrees. Out on the Monterey Bay tonight, you can expect west winds 5 to 15 knots, wind waves 1 to 3 feet, northwest swells 3 to 4 feet at 10 seconds, and patchy fog after midnight. Highway 1 Santa Cruz in the Aptos 10 miles per hour, slowing down again as you approach the harbor in Moss Landing, 10 miles per hour. That is in the southbound direction. On 101 southbound, slow moving through Coyote Valley, Gilroy, and then again near the 156 exit. 475-1080 with your traffic reports, dm@ksco.com. Phil Deseth is standing by with your headlines, so we're going to hand it over to him. The time is now 6:07, ksco.com. Check that out for news, traffic, weather, podcasts, and more. Check it out right now. Here's Phil.
Thanks, Dave, and good afternoon, Central Coast. A man was shot after he interrupted an auto burglary in Gilroy this morning, Tavia Avila reports.
The incident took place just before 3 a.m. near the intersection of Hyde Park Drive and Victoria Drive. The victim reported he confronted two people that were burglarizing a vehicle. A third person then shot the victim in the legs. The Gilroy Police Department has arrested 3 people they believe are connected to the incident. Anyone with any information is encouraged to contact authorities. This is Tavia Avila for KSCO Radio News.
A body was recovered from a Santa Cruz beach earlier today. The badly decomposed remains were discovered at about 9 a.m. on a beach near Fair Avenue and Westcliff Drive. The remains were recovered by the coroner's office, which will now work to determine the identity and cause of death. The former Salinas councilman Jose Castaneda's attorney is planning to file a motion for a new trial. Castaneda was found guilty on Wednesday for stalking, kidnapping, sexual battery, and inflicting corporal injury on his ex-girlfriend. Castaneda's attorney believes that the Sixth Amendment right to competent counsel was violated and plans to file a motion before Castaneda is sentenced on June 22nd. A Santa Cruz neurosurgeon pleaded not guilty to child sex abuse crimes. Dr. James Kohut was arraigned this morning on multiple child sex charges upon 5 children, 14 and under. A co-defendant, Nurse Rochelle Brandon, was also in court today. And North Monterey County High School was locked down after receiving a bomb threat yesterday. The call was made by an anonymous female claiming there was a bomb on campus. The school was locked down through lunchtime following a check of the campus. Classes resumed later in the afternoon. It was the second bomb threat of the year at the school. And some organizations are calling for amplified voices to address the Medicaid cuts in President Trump's budget proposal and the American Health Care Act. The National Committee for Responsive Philanthropy is urging foundations to advocate for better health outcomes for all citizens. Kevin Prindiville with the nonprofit Justice in Aging believes influential groups must be proactive.
It is absolutely critical that funders get involved right now. This is the moment where we need advocacy, where we need action, because the stakes could not be higher.
Recently, the Congressional Budget Office estimated the bill would cause 23 million Americans to lose health insurance over the next 10 years. And finally, the Avenue of the Flag ceremony will be held this weekend in honor of those who've fallen while serving their country. KSCO spoke with Senator Bill Mooney about the upcoming event.
There's really a beautiful ceremony by veterans. The Avenue of the Flags, they place flags that have been purchased by family members in the memory of a fallen. There's a flag there for my father who died on active duty, and it's been supported by the members of LULAC, League of United Latin American Citizens in Castroville. And perhaps the most poignant part of that ceremony at the end, they read the names of all the fallen soldiers from all wars from Castroville, a very small community, and you hear the names of multiple family members who fell in Korea, World War II, Vietnam, to the more current wars. It's a very compelling service and one that we mark each year.
The event will be held on Memorial Day at the Castroville Cemetery located in Moss Landing. It's 6:11. Time to get back to Flight 1080. I'm Phil Deseth for KSCO Radio.
The Ebb and Flow River Arts Celebration is coming soon, Friday, June 2nd, for art making, dance, and fun on Cooper Street in downtown Santa Cruz. At 9 p.m., join the Night Walk along the San Lorenzo River, led by a jazz band, and see LED-lit aerial dancers and sculptures. Then, on June 3rd, flow into the Kinetic Art Parade at noon on the Riverwalk from Kaiser Arena to the Tannery Arts Center. A full day of family-friendly fun, dance, art, music, food, and celebration. Sponsored by KSCO, Santa Cruz County Bank, and Sutter Maternity and Surgery Center. Go to artscouncilsc.org. See you there.
Does your business do shipping and receiving? Or maybe you're packing up to move across town? Coast Paper and Supply meets all your needs at affordable prices. We have boxes of all shapes and sizes, as well as a variety of packing tape and tape guns. For your fragile items, we carry bubble wrap, shipping peanuts, and Astrofoam. Shipping in bulk, we carry pallets and pallet wrap. You can find Coast Paper and Supply at 151 Josephine Street or at coastpapersupplyinc.com. You can also call us at 831-423-3350.
It's always open house at the Mike Young Real Estate Hour, and you are always invited to walk right in and join the discussion. Hello, I am Mike Young, and I love talking real estate with all the experts and with you. So get a jump on the Real Estate Weekend every Friday, 7 p.m. on the Mike Young Real Estate Hour, right here on Listen and Be Heard Radio KSCO. The Mike Young Real Estate Hour is brought to you by Thunderbird Real Estate, Real People Selling Real Estate, by Rick Williams at American Pacific Mortgage, and by Steve Manville at Farmers Insurance. Friday at 7. See you then.
The Cannabis Connection is the educational outlet for all to engage with policy, science, culture, and local developments in order to orient the community in the rapidly evolving cannabis renaissance. Our goal is to open a dialogue surrounding the potential that this plant provides to heal people's ailments, but also heal our society from a social and economic standpoint. Tune in to the Cannabis Connection, Friday nights 8 to 9 p.m. on KSCO AM 1080.
Music, wonderful music at 1080 Santa Cruz.
You're listening to Flight 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz. Let's get back to the phone calls. 479-1080. Becky calling from SoCal. Thank you for your call, Becky. You're in the air.
Hi. I just got the tail end of you talking about extracting ticks, and my grandson had a tick on his neck last week, and it was really in there. And my son-in-law took a small match. You apply heat to the end of it, and that thing came out so fast.
That's what I've heard too. So what did he do? Did he put the fire to the rear end of the tick?
Yeah, just on one of his legs, and it backed out so fast, the whole thing. So obviously you have to be really careful, not to burn the person. But I mean, I just couldn't believe how fast it came out, the whole thing.
Fire is a motivator.
That's the old school way of doing it.
Yeah, well, it worked, so I just wanted to let you know.
All right, Becky, thank you for the call. 479-1080. The CDC recommends, let's see, tick removal. I have some tick removal tips from the CDC. That's the Center for Disease Control. You ready? Use fine-tipped tweezers to grasp the tick as close to the skin surface as possible. Pull upward with steady, even pressure. Don't twist or jerk the tick. This can cause the mouth parts to break off and remain in the skin. If this happens, remove the mouth parts with tweezers. If you are unable to remove the mouth easily with clean tweezers, leave it alone and let the skin heal.
Wrong. I mean, right, but I'd be like digging it out.
Yeah, I'll dig that thing out. After removing the tick, thoroughly clean the bite area and your hands with rubbing alcohol, an iodine scrub, or soap and water. Dispose of a live tick by submersing it in alcohol, placing it in a sealed bag or container, wrapping it tightly in tape, or flushing it down the toilet. Never crush a tick with your fingers. 4791080.
Why not? What if you like
can't crush
squishing
your
stuff?
fingers?
Well,
Because
then
it'll
you
bite
get
you, won't
the
it?
juices all over you.
Oh.
And then if you touch yourself.
But if you take a paper towel, put it over the tick, use a hammer and smack it.
Yeah, because they're extremely
Go
hard,
ahead.
right? They're extremely tough when they're young.
I don't know if the CDC is going to recommend that, but I think you're free to do that.
The CDC says to avoid folklore remedies such as painting the tick with nail polish or petroleum jelly or using heat to make the tick detach from your skin. They say do not do that. Your goal is to remove the tick as quickly as possible, not waiting for it to detach. All right.
What a nasty critter.
4791080.
Seriously.
DM
Wouldn't
at
the world just be
KSL.com.
better off without them?
Tick season is just around the corner, you guys.
It's
Well,
here.
I went on a little excursion with my son for his class at school up to the university, and sure enough, they found a tick on him.
Really?
Yeah, and what's kind of weird because we were out in the Redwood area, and they're not usually in that kind of area. They're usually where it's like more brush,
Maybe that's why he jumped on that kid.
Yeah.
That was like the only thing around, just jumped right on him.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. They're like little combat soldiers, like tick seals that fall down with their little. Whatever. What am I going?
What is it with you and seals?
I don't know. They got him on that topic because of that news thing.
4791080.
I blew it. That was terrible.
Well, if
whatever.
you want my 2 cents.
It's all right, Chris. The more you talk, the better it is for me. The more you talk. 47910. Let's go out to the phone lines. John calling from the east side. You're in the air.
Yeah, ticks. As far as putting any type of heat on them, you definitely don't want to do that because then it'll evacuate their stomachs and such. You got much more of a chance of getting an infection, when you do that. But yeah, the tweezer thing is basically the best way. Just get the tweezer on that head and just apply pressure until they kind of let go and come out, But yeah, don't put any flame on their butt. I mean, what would you do if somebody did that to you? My goodness.
I probably would just go. I wouldn't throw up.
Yeah, maybe.
What's funny is every time
Thank you for the call,
somebody says
479-1080.
throw up or evacuate their stomach or something like that, Dave gets the dry heaves over here.
Did they say to just squeeze the tick, or did they say to pull it out?
apply pressure.
No. Yeah,
Just
with the
squeeze it?
tweezers, grab it by as close to the skin as you can and pull it off.
Or apply pressure, it says, and it'll start to back out, it said. Like the gentleman just said.
I think the CDC, and I think what that guy was saying is that you don't want to wait for it to just let go and go on its own. You want to pull it off as quick as you can.
Tick removal.
.org.
Because I think for both the peppermint oil and the burning its butt, both of those will make it, expel its stomach contents or whatever you want.
Well, whatever it drank.
It'll hurl inside you.
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to say.
He was at the bar way too long.
The whole tick thing is nasty.
It's nasty. They're gross creatures.
But we have to. This is a PSA that we're doing here. How to remove
a tick. Actually, that's not a PSA. This is a PSA. You want to do something to help clean up the local beaches?
Heck yeah.
Meet down at Cowell Beach Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Save Our Shores is sponsoring a beach cleanup. They want you to show up Sunday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Cowell Beach. Meet by the public restrooms near the Dream Inn. They'll be celebrating the holiday weekend by cleaning up the beaches.
And here's my advice to you:
if you want to work on the weekend, go meet them there.
If you're gonna do that, for one, have a pair of boots that are syringe proof, and a pair of gloves that are syringe proof
and tick proof.
Because actually what you can get, they're called snake bite proof boots. Okay, when you're out in the swamp, they have them. They're literally called that. Like a snake cannot bite through them. Those are probably what you'd like. You need to go to Outdoor World or somewhere like that and find some boots like that, because that beach is notorious for syringes being all around it. And that's a fact.
479-1080. Let's see who is up next. It is Nick in Royal Oaks.
Well, it was like up on Mount Tamalpais when the hummingbird ate the tick, and then there was a red man.
What the heck was that?
That was Nick.
What was
I guess Nick wants to get banned again or something.
479-10-8. What was that, Nick?
No. Hey, I've had so many ticks. Can I tell you about ticks?
Sure.
A hummingbird ate a tick? What? I don't even get that.
I usually bite them, to kill them, but I hear you just have to break a leg. I haven't had a head buried in me real deep in a long time. I've had them broken off. They say counterclockwise. Unless they're really solidly embedded, counterclockwise will get them out. But unless they're really solidly planted their head inside you, the match will at least, you light the match and you blow it out, and you get it close to the butt, and they'll rear out real fast, and then you could turn them. When their head's really embedded, then that's when you got to give it some time.
Oh God, I'm getting sick. 479-10-8. This is just kind of
Dude, it's been like an hour of tick.
Holy cow! TikTok.
Well, it is tick season.
Show us your ticks. Right? Can you see?
No, show us your tick. You know,
show us your ticks.
Not with the
Boy,
S.
you guys are cutting it close on this.
Yeah, I'd rather show us your ticks sound better than show us your tick.
I wasn't even going there. See how every time I say something, it's broadsided.
Jim in Seaside, you're in the air.
Hey, fellas.
Hey, Jim, what's up?
Yeah, you stomp through them woods, man, do some hunting every morning during the springtime. Oh, Lord, you come back, you're going to have them on your legs. All that there. Usually what my old granddaddy did, we had a pocket knife that was sharp. We had a pocket knife that was dull. We took that dull pocket knife, man, just rake down through there and just rake them off.
And then what'd you do with the sharp pocket knife?
Dig the head out.
Oh, the sharp pocket knife, you didn't want to know that. That's for the beer joint action.
479-1080. DM at KSCO.com.
When I was growing up, it was always heat. That's what they used. They used heat to get them out of the dog or whatever.
Yeah,
They'd
my
get
dog
a
always
match,
had 'em.
just like they said. You'd blow the match out, though. It wouldn't be lit because obviously a dog has fur. And you'd put that hot match right by the tick, and it would back out. It didn't matter how big it was.
479-1080. Let's see who's up next. It is Debbie calling from Watsonville. You're in the air.
Yeah, hi. I got to tell you a story. My husband thought it was really cool. He was pulling ticks out of it, and that hot match would only work if your dog had short hair. We had Springer Spaniels, and they are really hairy. So it would set the dog on fire. So he was pulling ticks out. My son was about he was about 4. And there were ticks crawling all over. And my son says, "Can I take these to school tomorrow?" And I said, "Seriously? Okay." So I go get a small little jar, and I go, "Okay, let's pick him up and put him in there." And I said, next day at school, I said, he is in preschool. I said, "Mrs. Larson," I handed him to her. I said, "These, you may want to flush down the toilet." And she goes, "What are they?" I said, "Ticks, big fat ticks." Anyhow, it was the grossest thing ever, but that's what you have in the country.
Oh, man. Oh, God. I don't feel good. I'm feeling queasy. Thank you for your call, 479-1080. Oh, man.
I remember seeing some big ones on the dog, and they must have been drinking blood for like a week or something.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Where they were like,
Chris,
maybe
are you
like,
trying to make me, dude? Are you trying to make me leave the show early?
They're about like 2 erasers tall off and gray, right? They get all gray. I mean, just those huge ones. And then when you do the match thing and you'd back off, it was like this little tiny head and this big old huge body. Just straight up nasty.
I don't know.
Oh, Chris, dude. You know I'm not feeling good, dude.
It's a tick.
And
you brought this whole story up. Now you're going to get upset for me for expanding the visualization?
My mom used to just turn them counterclockwise and pop, and they go.
Like a tooth coming out?
Just like a tooth.
479-1080.
We pull them out of the dogs. Horse.
Dave calling from Salinas. You're in the air.
Hey, you guys have stole my thunder. It's right, counterclockwise. But what's tough is, you go hunting and you're packing out a deer that's got a bunch of ticks on it. By the time you get home, you got to have somebody help you get them off your back.
Yep.
Oh, my God. Are you serious?
Oh, yeah, they go right off the deer onto you. They know the deer's dead.
Yeah, they know the deer's dead or whatever. They're looking for something else. But, you get them in the center of your back. You can't reach them. But, you can do your arms, your legs. But anything on the back of you, man, you need a friend or a girlfriend that's willing to do it.
But can you get a girl? Can you actually get a girlfriend to do that, to touch those things?
Oh, I've had a couple.
All right, Dave. Thank you for the call. 479-1080.
Good woman is when she take a tick off your butt.
That's when you go back to looking like a chimpanzee or something, right? That's when humans go back to the ape form.
Dude.
Is when you get a tick on your back.
Okay, so use fine tip tweezers to grasp the tick as close to the skin surface as possible. Pull upward with steady, even pressure. Don't twist or jerk the tick. This can cause the mouth parts to break off and remain in the skin.
Well, but that's different from what all of our callers
Well,
have
this is from
telling
the
us.
CDC.
I know. I think the CDC's lying to us.
In your opinion.
479-1080. DM at KSCO.com. Yeah.
I don't want. I'm looking at these pictures. I'm gonna have nightmares about ticks crawling on me.
Just wrong, man. Just wrong.
Do we have something we can read instead?
Yeah, let's do something else, man.
Hey, you know
man,
what?
This is bringing in the phone calls.
By the way, I was
got more tick
I was looking for. I need a book to read. And
You got more phone calls.
Can you believe it? I burned through all my books, every book that I own in the house.
I didn't know
burned
you
through.
read.
You're supposed to
I thought
read
you
them,
said it
not
put you
burn
to
them.
sleep.
And so I find a book this morning, walking through Point Lobos, or Point Lobos Reserve, or the park.
Are you that desperate for books to read?
And somebody had left a book there, and it says, "Please take this book and read." And I'm thinking, boy, this must be a message from God. So I pick up the book, I take it home, and I start reading it, and it's about God. And I go, what am I supposed to do with this?
Supposed to read it, Dave.
It kept the house warm for about 3 minutes. Threw it in the fireplace, kept it nice and warm, and then just kind of burned out, dude. 479-1080.
The book burner. The book
I hope
burner,
that wasn't
Dave.
a Bible, dude.
It was a book about God, which I love reading about God, but this was like the wrong angle. This was saying, "Oh, Jesus said this," and that. I don't want that. I want to hear some reasoning. I want to hear some logic.
You can't
towards believing
bring
God.
scientific belief into.
You can't do it.
You can't. Spiritualism is
479-1080.
different.
Let's get out to the phone calls and pick up Jim calling from Carmel. You're in the air.
Yeah, hi guys. I was just talking about the ticks. The Lyme disease is one of the big issues. So when someone pulls a tick out of their body, they should keep it, have it tested.
Yeah, they had to do that to the kid at my son's school. They took it
Really?
and got it tested. Definitely.
Really? Where do you take it to?
Your doctor will know. They got places to send it in, and they'll test the little thing. If it has Lyme disease, you got a lot to deal with, And if you don't, big deal. You have a little thing in your arm. I pulled him out a couple of times.
What if you catch a tick on one of your pets?
No, I've had it dug into my own arm. So.
I'm saying
that's why I
if one of your animals has a tick on it, should you get that tested too?
Well, Lyme disease for your dog, and when you have a few years left, that's your own choice. I'm talking about, you and your kids and things like that. It can be a real serious issue.
Now what I learned is that when it comes to ticks and Lyme disease, I think the tick has to be in you for longer than 36 hours.
24 hours.
For enough bacteria. Is it 24? For enough
That's what these guys say.
Lyme disease to get in you. So if it bit you and you noticed it, within a couple hours and you got it out, the likelihood is pretty low.
Yeah,
Thank you for your call, Jim. 479-1080.
Carve out a 1 by 1 inch out of your arm. And
Don't ticks also have a sedative in their bite, so you're not supposed to notice when they bite you?
right, you don't.
I would
you don't
assume that's
feel
how they do it.
No, they're just really, really sneaky.
Let's head out to Moose Landing. Mark is in the air.
Hey, Dave. The most ticks I've ever seen, I was driving a General around on Fort Hood, and I jumped out of the vehicle, and there was literally thousands of them on the tire. But around here, if you want to find some ticks, go out to Fort Ord.
Really?
Yeah, they're really
In the
thick
grass
out
and stuff, the grassland
there.
out there.
Yeah, you can't even walk your dog out there. There'll be hundreds of them on you.
So the ticks were clinging to the tire?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when I was in the military, yeah. Just driving through
Why
the
would they do
outback
that?
out there. Just from running over the sagebrush and all that, they just
cling on to anything.
get all over. Yeah, we hightailed it out of there.
Dang.
And then you got a flamethrower.
Thank you for the call, Mark. 479-1080. Keith and Aptos, you have less than a minute. Take it.
Yeah, this is from the dog that wears sunglasses. What I do is get a bottle of alcohol, the rubbing kind, and put it over the tick, take it off, pull the skin away, and the dog knows it's going to hurt a little bit. Do that every 10, 20 minutes. The tick will die, and it sterilizes everything.
All right, Keith, thank you for the call. 479-1080. It's tick season, the unofficial beginning of summer. Monday,
Yep.
right? The unofficial beginning of summer. Keep it tuned in, KSCO Santa Cruz. CBS News up next.
The mother reported both of the children, quote unquote, took off.
The mother then reported she searched the area for the children and later found them locked inside a small four-door vehicle on the property, adding that the children had entered the vehicle and locked themselves inside.
Parker County Police Deputy Danny Huffman.
The incident was reported shortly after 4 p.m. when the temperatures had reached approximately 96 degrees. The children were identified as a 16-month-old boy and a girl who had celebrated her second birthday in late February.
Huffman says the mother broke a window to get into the car. Emergency medical personnel were contacted immediately. Both children pronounced dead from suspected extreme heat exposure. The sheriff says the case is in the early stages of investigation. He says they are making no assumptions. CBS News Update. I'm Deborah Rodriguez.
You're listening to AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz. The time is now 6:32. Headlines up next. Here's Phil DeSeth.
Thanks, Dave, and good evening, everyone. The Santa Cruz Police Department recovered 2 stolen bikes earlier this week with the help of Good Samaritans. 44-year-old John Walkenbach was seen stealing a bike near Shoppers Corner, where an employee took a picture of the crime, while workers from Buddy Griggs Plumbing Company detained Walkenbach until officers arrived and arrested him for grand theft. During the investigation, 2 bikes were recovered. A second stolen bike was found stashed near the San Lorenzo Park. Both bikes have been returned to their owners. And Congressman Jimmy Pineda announced yesterday that 4 Monterey County fire departments received grants totaling over $850,000 from the Federal Emergency Management Agency in cooperation with the U.S. Fire Administration. Awardees included the Seaside Fire Department, Gonzales Fire Department, Greenfield Fire Department District, and Mid-Coast Fire Brigade. This grant is made under the fiscal year 2016 Assistance to Firefighters Grants and will be used for communication systems upgrades. And the Salinas Police Department is adding extra DUI patrols for this holiday weekend. The DUI officers have special training to help them detect when a driver is under the influence of drugs, marijuana, or prescription medication. The department emphasizes that motorists under the influence of anything legal or illegal will be arrested. It's 6:33, time to get back to Flight 1080. I'm Phil DeSeth for KSCO Radio.
You have cancer, and unless you take serious action immediately, you will be dead within 2 years. Devastating words that no one wants to hear ever. Well, my friend Bob heard those words recently, and as you can imagine, it turned his world upside down. Thoughts of losing body parts and body functions, having people treat him differently, the pall of depression, and even consideration of suicide are just some of the things that raced through his mind, until he grabbed hold of himself and decided to deal decisively with this problem. What he has learned in this process, he wants to share with everyone. All of us are touched by cancer every day, if not personally through experiences of friends and loved ones. Granted, the topic is not a happy one, but Bob's journey is worth chronicling. Starting with the next KSCO special this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, right here on No Need to Be Alone Ever Radio, AM 1080 KSCO.
Hey, buddy, it's me, your laptop. That's right, your little modern marvel of technology you've been abusing for months. Dude, we need to talk. Do you really think that those free PC Fix-It programs are any match for today's spyware and malware? Not to mention the NSA and some of those websites you've been visiting. Now, I'm not here to judge, I'm just saying. You need to take me to Peter and the friendly staff at User Friendly Computing to get me back into tip-top shape.
Tired of unfriendly computer support, slow computer, viruses, spyware? No problem. Call the friendly computer experts at User Friendly Computing. We take care of all your PC, Macintosh, and laptop needs. Mention KSCO and get a free $50 diagnostic. Visit us today at 505 River Street on the way to downtown Santa Cruz, across from Gateway Plaza. We give you a choice. Drop your computer by the shop, or we'll come to you. Call us today at 423-9653. User Friendly Computing.
Music, wonderful music.
479-1080. You're listening to Flight 1080 KSEO Santa Cruz 218-5726 if you want to send in a text, and if you want to order your longevity products. 218-5726. That's 218-KSEO. I was growing weed in the bushes in the mountains and got ticks almost daily. I was fine. I just pulled them out.
Is that a text?
That's a text. Yeah, that's not me. 479-1080 is probably the fastest way to get on board. 218-5726 with your text messages. All right, Wes.
Yes, sir.
So I hear you have a new show playing on the weekends. Your last one went pretty good, I heard, huh?
Yeah, it actually went
very
well.
It
It went very well. Hang on, I gotta get my ears back in my head here.
While he's doing that real quick, I have a real quick tick-spiracy.
Tick-spiracy?
Yeah, like a conspiracy about ticks and Lyme disease, real quick.
Right.
I was watching this show, and they believe there was this like underground government facility on the East Coast that was experimenting with the Lyme disease, and they could put it in bugs and stuff, and that's how it got out, and that's why it spread starting from over there, and there was like a huge outbreak. It was an interesting show. Not that I believe it.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Just throwing
the
it
one
out
that
there.
scares me is if they ever weaponized rabies. That's the one that scares me.
Well, that's kind of like zombie stuff in a way.
Yeah, kind of unaware. But anyway, we started My Two Cents this last Sunday, and it went really well. The My Two Cents, the whole idea was behind the show is that there's a whole blog out there called Investors Hub, and there's millions of people on this, and it's the idea of the show was just to bring those people together and talk shop about different stocks that they like and strategies and that such. And we had our first show this last Sunday, and we showcased Amphil Technologies. And this weekend coming up, we're going to be actually interviewing, or they'll be co-hosting, Roger, the CEO of Amphil, and Ambrose Phyllis, the president of GrowZone, which GrowZone is one of the companies under the Amphil Technologies umbrella that can grow marijuana with no pesticides or fungus. It kills 99.9% of the mold and fungus and pests, and also oxygenates the water and cleans it and lets you grow your weed without any pesticides, because as we know, that pesticide issue in weed really bothers me a lot. So yeah, it was a real successful show. A lot of people came online, listened in, and called from all over the country, and it was a good show.
So what day and time does this come on?
This
Wes?
comes on Sundays at 6 p.m. every Sunday for an hour, and the show's called My Two Cents. And if you want to hear the past show, you can go to KSEO.com and find My Two Cents, and you see my big bald head, and you can click on that and download all the old shows. What are you doing? Sleeping?
I am. I'm like ready to just fall over.
But yeah, no, you can download the past show, check it out. It was a good time. My good buddy Robert Matias is the co-host, and we're just going to sit every Sunday and we're going to talk shop.
That sounds good, Wes. So can we already catch this on the ZBS Radio?
Absolutely. It's already there.
There you go. So you can check out the first show by logging on to zbsradio.com, and you can hear the
download
first
it.
show.
And this Sunday at 6.
Sounds good. Let's go out to the phone lines. Everybody ready? Everybody ready? Are we done with ticks? Or are we done with ticks?
I'm gonna
tick
nightmares.
We're moving on to a different subject.
Oh boy,
fleas.
Let's head out to
scabies.
Let's head out to Santa Cruz. Judith is calling. Thank you for your call, Judith.
Hey, you guys. Well, need a feminine voice of madness and love. Hey, there's a video. It's called, on YouTube, Crisis Actors Rehearse Terror Attack in Manchester. It's really scary to watch because it is a crisis. It's a rehearsal. It's 4 minutes and 53 seconds long. And then there's another one, talks about the paramedics that had to wait for 90 minutes before they could go into the area where the so-called bomb supposedly went off. Manchester bombing hoax examined. Paramedics need not apply. So why is that? There is radical terrorism. I know there is. I know that I've seen a video that's so awful. It's a woman.
Judith, do you believe that the bombing didn't happen?
I've seen a video of a woman being beheaded in Mecca. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's so traumatic to watch, but I made myself watch it 48 hours ago. What'd you say?
Are you under the impression? Do you believe that there was no bombing in Manchester? That it was all fake?
Well, Dave, if you go back and you just examine, look. First of
yes,
all, of
yes or
course
no?
I know. Of course, it's
You think it was fake then?
of course it was fake.
Okay. Thank you for your call, Judith. You can check it out on YouTube. Manchester bombing hoax. Thank you for your call. 479-1080.
No
listen,
comment.
I'm not one. I don't want to tell people how to think, but I will tell people that this is just. Have you noticed a pattern that whenever something like this happens, there's always somebody who says this is a conspiracy. Is it possible that it's not a conspiracy, that it was really a bombing?
No,
Did you hear that, Ben? The Manchester bombing is fake now.
I hate to add fuel to the flames, but the UK has more security cameras than any other country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen any footage of the bombing?
They haven't released it yet, but they will.
Oh God, no, I haven't. Now that you mention that, but I remember thinking that too.
I'm just saying I don't think that the Manchester bombing was fake. I'm just saying it's interesting. That was an interesting point I saw.
Well, that's why all those tapes, and they tracked that guy right back to the south because all those cameras. And figured out that's why there's 10 people's arrested.
The same reason they didn't want to release his name.
Right, exactly. And there's a reason that, unfortunately, paramedics are halted before you go in because they got to make sure that there's not a second bomb sitting there waiting for the first responders to go off when they get there. I mean, that's a common thing to do is you set off one bomb, wait until everybody rushes to help everybody else, and you set off the second bomb.
I heard there was some estimate that there's 3 million cameras in England.
Yeah, England's every corner.
479-1080, DM at ksco.com, 218-5726. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter too at Flight 1080.
I think it happened. I mean, obviously something happened, and yeah, could the government or a military agency or something pay off some dude to do something like that, and maybe it wasn't someone they were pointing a finger at? Yeah, that could happen, but just to say outright that it didn't happen, just because you haven't seen it, I'd like to go tell that to the families that lost people. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've seen video of quite a few of the youngsters that survived that are in the hospital with their parents that
the Queen
have
visited
wounds.
them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, see, this is what people have to be careful of, because governments throughout history love making the citizenry feel like they never know what's the truth. They never know what to believe. When you're in that type of mindset, you become very dangerous yourself, and you can be easily manipulated. So my best advice is to always look at everything from lots of different angles, but don't put yourself on any one belief about anything. Don't believe it didn't happen, and you gotta have an open mind about it. Don't get caught in it was one way.
Hey Dave, one of our callers wanted to know if the Dave Cave will be open this weekend.
The Dave Cave will be open this weekend. I will not be there, however. Jason will be. He'll be more than happy and more than able to take care of your needs tomorrow. Jason will be here. I will be taking the day off. But again, the Dave Cave will be open.
10.
Jason will be managing.
So wouldn't it be the Jason Cave then?
10 to 2.
No, the name doesn't change.
Oh,
It's
okay.
the
Is it
Dave
still the
Cave.
same time? 10 to 2?
10 to 2.
It's still the Bat Cave, whether Batman's
I guess so. You're
fighting
right.
crime or
Right.
he says
You got
Yeah,
it.
just because Robin's in there fixing stuff doesn't mean it's the Robin Cave.
Yeah, okay.
He didn't fix stuff. Albert did.
Albert did.
Yeah, it was never the Albert Cave though.
Albert didn't fix stuff.
Yes, he did.
He fixed dinner.
No, dude, he fixed everything.
Albert did everything.
He did everything.
He
Did you see him
mended-
changing the flat tire one time?
He mended Master Bruce's wounds when he was attacked by
Yeah.
various criminals.
I don't remember that. I don't
Albert was
remember.
cool,
Albert
dude.
wasn't working on technology.
Yeah, he was.
He changed flat tires.
Albert was in on all of it.
Yeah.
What, you know what?
He'd
All you
wash the
guys
car.
have this little kid look on your face when we're talking about
Batman
it
is
right
cool.
now.
Dude, I am Batman.
Don't mess with Batman.
479-1080. Let's get out to the phone lines. Wendy calling from Ben Lomond. You're in the air.
Hey, Dave, I called actually about a book recommendation.
Oh, good. Yes. I need a book to read. What's your recommendation?
Mine is Dan Brown's Inferno. He's the guy who wrote Da Vinci Code.
Oh.
But Inferno is crazy. And you can watch the movie. Movie's good. It has a happy ending, unlike the book. But the movie was done by Ron Howard. So it's a good movie, but the book is fantastic. It also goes into religious history a bit, and a lot of it's like going on a tour of Europe, except it's you're reading it and they're shooting at people.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
But it's like the King Kong of conspiracies, and he got it from a really interesting, real source. I read an interview, and he said that it was about. When someone wants to, have an affair or something, and they will call a certain organization who will, answer the phone and say, oh, he's at the conference, everything's fine, and this is the hotel he's supposed to be staying at when he's in Bahamas or something instead of in Detroit. So it's interesting, exaggeration of something that he knew did exist, and it's pretty trippy as far as the conspiratorial end. I'd recommend it to Chris, too.
Okay. All right, Wendy, thank you for your call. 479-1080. So I'm hiking through the woods, Chris. I find this book, and it's in a bag, and it says, please pick up this book, take it home, and read it. So I pick it up, and I knew it was probably about God. I picked it up, took it home, and started reading it. I read the first couple paragraphs and go, oh, this is garbage.
Well,
wow.
What made you think that, though?
Well, it made me think what? That it was
what
not
about,
a good book?
No, when you were reading, what was it telling you that made you think that?
It said, the Lord cometh down, and if you believeth in him, he should do it. And I'm thinking, oh, jeez, I don't need this stuff.
Well, you have to understand that comes
No,
from...
I don't have to understand anything.
Well, I'm telling you, the reason why it's wrote like that
okay.
or written like that is because it's from an older school of writing, and that's how people
it's from
talk
a boring
to each other.
Dude, I was asleep within the first sentence.
You know what? When you learn about the non-church description of Jesus and how he was kind of like most people that were living outside of the box, that were great people in history, that's when you start to appreciate it more. That's like I've said before. He was a person who said you didn't need to go to church. Church is inside of you. Right. People always think, well, they whenever you hear about him, they go, well, he was upset because they were selling stuff inside of the church. They'd have like these flea markets, right? Mm-hmm. That's not why he was upset. He was upset because the church was brainwashing people. And that's why he didn't like it and stood up to it. So you have to like really look back at history. You can look at Jesus as a historical figure. You don't have to look at him necessarily as a religious person if you can't handle that.
That's not that I can't handle it. This is okay, so this is what I wanted to say. I'm all for reading books about religion. I'm all for it.
Right.
Where do I go to read a book written by somebody who is sane? Right? I don't want to hear this nutty talk. I want to hear somebody talk logically. Have you ever read anything by C.S. Lewis?
Well, of course.
C.S. Lewis is a great author and is fairly convincing. And I like the way he approaches trying to persuade somebody to believe in whether or not I like that approach.
Right.
I don't like reading from the Bible. I don't understand that stuff. I don't understand it.
Well, the thing about the Bible is it's a whole bunch of books, like and all it's trying to do is help people. Like I was telling you this before on another show when I did with you guys. It's just trying to help people get through situations that they're dealing with in life. Some people take it as, this is how you're supposed to be. And some people look at it as, okay, well, this guy 1,000 years ago went through the same thing I'm going through right now, and this is how he dealt with it.
479-1080. So I need book suggestions, whether it's about religion or... And the other kind of book I'm looking for is not novels. I don't have time to read novels. Jeez. What do I have, 10 hours to sit there and read about something that's not real? I want either reference books, right? Information. Right. I want information. I don't have time to download fantasies into my brain. I want information. I want books with information.
Well, you want historical books.
If it's cool sci-fi, it's got to be a short book. I don't have time to sit there and spend a month reading a novel. I don't have that kind of time. I don't have it.
You have to look at it like this. What kind of subject matter do you want to be stuck in all the time? Like, I like reading books about all kinds of different subjects. I don't want to just get stuck on realism any more than I do sci-fi. So the best thing to do is just mix it up categorically.
Right, and they need to be short books, because if I'm sitting there reading a novel that's going to take me 3 months to read, well, that's a lot of time
and
to
that's
invest.
just not for you. Yeah, you
it's
just got to find the things that work for you.
Wes, what was the last book you read?
The last book I read was Star Wars Darth Plagueis.
There you go.
You made that up.
No,
Yeah,
that's,
I did.
There's actually a book that's almost like that.
No, there is. There is
Yeah.
a book that's just like that's what's just going through my head. Last book I read was OSHA's Industrial Standards for the Construction Industry in the OSHA 510 class I just took.
Would
and
you
it's
recommend
about-
that for reading?
I got to tell you, it was a tough book to get through. I've got so many codes going through my head right now, I can't even see straight.
479-1080. Any book suggestions, I will take them. DM at ksco.com, 218-5726.
Hustler?
Well, the one I would tell you to read is Power, Faith, and Fantasy. I mean, it's a big book, but it's a history book, and that's a good one to read.
How big of a book?
Well, it's not really big to me, but it's like 500 pages.
Yeah, that's big. 479-1080. Mike in Santa Cruz, you're in the air.
Hey, I appreciate the conversation, and I just wanted to say I appreciate Chris's heart and his spirit. That they're not easy things to, sometimes talk about because there's so much excitement involved there. But I appreciate what he said about Jesus being on the streets with the people, and whatever someone may have a difficulty with wrestling with some of the truths of Scripture and stuff, that he really had a heart for the people, and he really wanted them to understand the truth and love, and that's what I got from Chris's heart when he was talking in the conversation. So thanks a lot for dialoguing, you guys.
Thank you for the call, Chris.
You're welcome.
479-1080.
If people don't know, Chris doesn't have a mean bone in his body. He is just a good man, and he's a good father. Just like Dave's a good dad.
Oh, quit it. Thomas in Live Oak, you're in the air.
You're making me blush.
Hey, Thomas.
Hey, Dave, I got a book for you. It's only 1,039 pages long, and it's Hawaii by James Michener.
1,000-page book?
You know what, Dave? Books go by fast, just like movies you like watching. If you can get into a book, man, you will burn through it. I've burned through 200 pages in a 4-hour reading period before easily. So I mean,
Wow.
it's just how your mind gets into it.
479-1080. Let me see who's up next. Joe in Happy Valley, you're in the air.
Man, I got a book, Dave. It's like less than 200 pages long. It's called Eaters of the Dead, the manuscripts of Odin Fadden relating his experiences with the Northmen in A.D. 922. It is the movie The 13th Warrior is based on, with Antonio Barnes, when he goes with the Vikings to fight these people. And it's actually a true book. It is called Eaters of the Dead. It's by Michael Crichton. And he made a movie about it, too, called The 13th Warrior, which is an awesome movie. Less than 200 pages, Dave. I think you could get through it by the weekend. Have a great show.
Thank you for your call, Joe. 479-1080.
Have you ever seen that movie, The 13th Warrior?
No.
No, you need to see that. That
Is it
is
really?
a good, yeah, no, it's a good
It's
movie.
still on Netflix.
Yeah, you can probably find it on Netflix.
Yeah,
That's a good
it
movie.
was on
it's
there.
Antonio Banderas.
I read a book by Michael Crichton, only one book. This was when I was on vacation. I was put on ice by our good friends at the Santa Cruz Sheriff's Department.
Nice of them.
and I read a
Give
book
you a
by Michael
vacation like
Crichton,
that.
and it was a book about time travel. It was a great book, time travel and somehow intermingled with the medieval times. It was a great book. It was fun, but
And that's all you got. Like you said, you've got to find what you're looking for
Right,
that's
right.
attractive to you, and you'll get through it. If it's not, you're just gonna not get anywhere with it.
Marco calling from Santa Cruz. You're in the air.
I got two for you. They're both short. They're both great reads.
Good.
First one is part one of Ben Franklin's autobiography. Very short, incredibly worth reading.
Okay.
Part two is a little slow, but part one's fabulous. And the other one is Plunkett of Tammany Hall. That's George Washington Plunkett, who was a New York assemblyman during the time of Tammany Hall, and he talks about honest graft and what went on. And he built all those piers on the west side of New York, and he got all kinds of things done through Honest Graft. Plunkett of Tammany Hall, and George Washington Plunkett is the author.
All
Very amusing, short read. You could read it probably in a night, and I know that you will enjoy it.
All right, Marco, thank you for the call. 479-1080.
There you go. You got some
DM at
book
KSCO.com.
suggestions.
Yeah, but tonight I'm just going to fall asleep, dude. I'm going to fall dead asleep once I get to the door.
Pizza, bowl ice cream, right? Good night.
Not even that, dude. I'm just going to go right to sleep. We got 2 minutes left. What are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? Anything else?
Pick up that virtuality story about that couple who got married in virtuality. And
I don't know where it's at anymore.
You don't see it there?
If you listen to my show last week, I said for everybody to go and research Amphil Technology and go look and then come back and be able to talk to the CEO. They just announced their news that they have another subsidiary called Snakes and Lattes, which is this fantastic place. They just announced that they're going to start franchising it. So you need to go check it out. The ticker symbol's AMFE. Just need to go look.
Oh, I want to throw a quick local business out there that I just ran into because I like to do this once in a while, and I just do it because I do it. I'm local, and it's Mickey's over there by Trader Joe's. Mickey's a sandwich and catering place, and it used to be Ben. You used to work there.
Yeah, I did.
So now Mickey, she owns the place herself. And pretty soon she's going to be doing dinner there from like 6 to 9. But they got burgers and sandwiches in there. We went in there. It was great. She's an awesome person. She's going to get a commercial pretty soon here.
Is that Mickey from she used to work at Crown, the Crown
yes,
place, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
She has her own place in that extent. And where Crown Cafe was, she has her own place in there. And I went in there and ate, and it was awesome. Great service. She's getting it going, piecing it together, but people should go in there and support her.
So
local person, local business.
She took it over from the Scotts Valley Market, or
yeah,
wow.
She did.
Good for her.
It's right next door, a couple stores over from Trader Joe's over here by what is that?
Trader Joe's.
Is that
there's
Claire's?
a GameStop over there.
Is that Claire's right
Claire
there?
Street?
Yeah, on Claire Street.
Yeah.
Wes,
My 2 cents, Sunday, 6 p.m.
what's the topic?
We're going to be meeting and interviewing Roger at Amphil Technologies and going to go over all the stuff there at Amphil Technologies.
Sunday, 6 p.m., KSCO Santa Cruz, My 2 cents.
That's right.
Chris?
Put your tray tables up. Have a great Memorial Day weekend.
You got it, dude.
CBS News, I'm Deborah Rodriguez. New trouble for the president's son-in-law over an alleged